Hello, it's AskPat13. Welcome back to another stream. Today we're going to be doing another RLCS recap. We had another day. Today was the first day with crowds, so World's going fantastic. If you're watching this back, the VOD, I appreciate your support. You can catch me live tomorrow if you're seeing this soon anyway at Worlds. I'm going to be watch partying the last couple days of the weekend for the playoffs. But yeah, if you're watching the VOD, I hope you enjoy. I'll be just going through the recap. This first part of the stream, I'll probably just start chatting with whoever's in chat, but I'll try and leave a comment with the timestamp of when the actual recap starts if you're watching this back and just want to watch that part of it. But yep, an interesting day. We had 4 matches today. Now let me quickly check chat. Hey, Funi, right away. You're here right away. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, we had some interesting matches today. I thought some of them would be closer, but then I think a lot of them went pretty much how I predicted, which let's just start off with that while we wait for people to hop on. Let me switch the view. So we had, here we go. This was the predictions I made yesterday, which Funi, you might have missed it. Oh, you clicked on an accident. Well, welcome anyway. I'm glad you are here as well. I did pretty well for the yesterday predictions, which obviously it's pretty easy to predict one round in a row. Which, funny enough, when the subreddit, when the r/Rocket League Esports subreddit had their prediction tournament, I did better in that style because you're predicting one match at a time, one round at a time, and I feel like any individual matchup, I'm usually pretty good. Because a lot of times you are just picking favorites. A lot of times Rocket League, the favorites win. But anyway, all that said, one round in a row, I got all 4 of these correct, and I got 3 series scores correct. The only one I got wrong was Complexity Ninjas in Pajamas. That was not a sweep. But, yeah, pretty much as I expected. I think Twisted Minds, I knew this was going to be a fight, but yeah, Twisted Minds really did put up a fight, which you like to see. And then I do think Falcons was like the clear favorite there. Moist FaZe pretty much went as I expected. I don't think anything was too surprising. And then since we'll talk about this while we're waiting for people to hop on, I looked back at my old predictions, the 2 rounds. This was the original set of predictions, which obviously some of this is wrong. This is not the original. This is the original. So this is the very original set of predictions, and obviously some of this is very wrong because I have teams like Power that obviously didn't actually make it out of wildcard. But some of the things that were right here is Twisted Minds falling to another MENA team, obviously not the exact same. Nip falling, although I had them falling to Crew there. Secret falling out. So I had a few things right. Interestingly, I got Carmine Corp BDS wrong, but I did have Liquid, I did have Vitality, I did have Genji, even all the way back then when I made these predictions. So I think my playoffs is going to look very similar to how it actually turns out. I don't know for sure if it'll be Rule 1 or Space Station, but either way, because if we go back to here, it is going to be Rule 1 playing Space Station. And either way, I'll be right about one of these two. So as long as Carmine Corp can close it out, I'll have 6 of 8, I guess. 7 of it? No, 6 of 8. Correct. Meanwhile, if we go to my more recent predictions, I could have even more because I do have Falcon's Crew here. In fact, I've actually predicted this group almost perfectly. Not all the game scores, but all the matches have been perfect so far. So, and again, this was the one I made after wildcard. So my after wildcard predictions are still doing quite well. The other group, not so much. I had G2 going out. But still, again, not crazy because I could still get 7 out of 8 playoffs spots correct. Yeah. Rule 1 aren't looking great. Yo, yeah. Wait, did I say they were? Okay, I mean, I said Twisted Minds kept it close, but obviously, yeah, some of that did come down to Rule 1 not playing well. And I think particularly Clears has played poorly. And I thought that when I was watching back some of the highlights, but then I looked at the stats, and I'll actually go to it again. If you look at again, stats aren't everything, but they are a way to help frame your thoughts and help just look at how the raw scores and score per game and stuff like that. And after you have a decent amount of games played, I think they do add up. So if we look at the stats here, and this is for every player in the World Championship, just ranking players, and we scroll all the way to the bottom, who can you see Who strikes out? It's Kaliers. Kaliers is literally one of the bottom four players at Worlds right now. That's crazy. He's below players, and now obviously it's not playing the same level of competition, but he's below every single Limitless player right now in terms of individual performance. And I will say it again, he is playing weaker opponents, so I don't want to hold that against him, particularly that he's lower than Sub-Saharan African players, because obviously that's not actually the case. But I think it is fair to say that, he is not making an impact in these matches right now, and that's not at all what I expected. Not at all. His shooting percentage is pretty atrocious. Now, he's not the only one, but a sub 10% shooting percentage is not ideal. It's not looking good. Yeah, not looking good for him at all. What did you guys think? So you said Rule 1's not looking great, but if we talk about the rest of the teams that played today, what do you think? So I think Falcons looked strong, actually. In fact, I'd say of all of them, Falcons, even LCT. Let me go back. Yes. And again, these are sorted by Octane rating. Some people you like Octane rating better than others. I think it's a fine tool. Again, just a tool. It shouldn't be your only method of analyzing players, but it's a tool to talk about. And yeah, if you just sort by Octane rating, he's lower than LCT. I think something is interesting. Yeah, this is win percentage. I forgot about this, but Gaming Gladiators didn't win a single game, and LCT still had a higher Octane rating than him, than Kaliers. So, yeah, and Mosen's not doing great on these stats as well, although I will say zero point 0.8 rating is a lot better than 0.6. So, it's interesting. Syed, Falcons might upset Vitality. Oh, yeah. So, if they play like they did in the Spring Major, wait, now I'm confused. Falcons. Oh, if you mean Spring Major last year, yes. I was confused for a second. I'm like, Falcons weren't in the Spring Major, but you probably mean their Grand Finals run. Which, that's another point I want to point out. I heard that, not to rag on the interviewers too much, but the interviewer asked Falcons if he felt, or I think it was Ahmad. He asked obviously the interviewed player, I think it was Ahmad. Subi asked Ahmad how did he feel as a team of like ones players, or he asked something about being ones players playing. How does it feel to prove yourself in 3v3? And Falcons already proved themselves in 3v3 a year ago when they got a grand final run. So that was interesting. That was an interesting question to a team that's been to a grand finals at an RLCS LAN. How do you feel proving yourself in 3v3? But anyway. Falcons knocked out Secret, my favorite team. Oh, that was your favorite team, Funi? I'm sorry. Yeah, a lot of favorite teams have been knocked out by a lot of people. I don't think Elevate were my favorite team, but I think I was most hyped about Elevate because, of course, not only are they one of my favorite teams, but they're an underdog story. So it's sad to see Elevate go, and I can feel you being sad about Secret. But yeah, man, I think Falcons actually looked the best today. So let me walk it back over to this, and I truly think that of these 8 teams, even Moist and even Complexity, I think I'd put Falcons played better today over them. That doesn't mean they beat Complexity on a head-to-head, because I'm not sure, but I do think Falcons looked the best today, which is a great sign going into Crew. I think that's actually a really good sign for them. You're Eddie, welcome to the chat, Eddie. You said Jack has a .742 rating, and you had him 5th in the world. Yeah, a lot of players aren't doing great that we expected, so let's look at it. Yeah. Apparently Jack right here near the bottom. In Jack's defense, he won every series he's played in, so that's just obviously not everything. Individual stats still matter, but when Nolly is popping off like never before, at least you can look at Jack and say, well, he didn't want to get in the way of his teammate. That's, you feed the hot hand. If Nolly has an incredible shooting percentage, you feed Nolly. Speaking of Nolly, I just pointed him out because he is among the, 6th place, 7th place? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nolly is 7th in stats right now, in Octane rating, which is crazy. He's not a bad player, but I just didn't expect him to be the best performing player on his team right now. So, what a great showing from Nolly. I mean, he's shooting 1 in 3 shots as a goal. That's crazy. That's the best shooting percentage potentially. Let me sort it. It is. Nolly is shooting the best. That's crazy. He's not a bad shooter, but he has the best shooting percentage in the world right now. That's pretty nuts. So, let's see. Gen G have a really good chance to make top 4. Oh, just by the way, the bracket they do. Except I think they actually played Carmen Corp, so maybe not. But it's definitely they could be Carmen Corp. It's not impossible. Not impossible. I hope both Mina make top 8. Well, Chronic, welcome. I can't tell if you're stealing Chronic the player's name or you just had the name. It's not like an heard of name. But anyway, welcome Chronic. I definitely think it's possible. Not I would favor Space Station, but I would also favor Falcons. So it's possible they both make it. Real One and Falcons, definitely possible. Genji gonna take the winner. Let me go back to this while I'm saying. Genji gonna take the winner of Karmine Corp Complexity. Yes, exactly. That's part of what I mean. It meant is in my head I'm like, of course Genji can make top four because I actually power rated Genji top four coming into this event, but they have the hardest opponent out of anybody. I think going into the next round because it doesn't matter who wins. I think Karmine Corp or Complexity you would favor over any of the other teams still in the group stage. I haven't made it out yet, so I would definitely. No, I know you're not the pro player, Chronic. Sorry if that was misunderstood. I don't know if you named yourself after him or not. I didn't know if you named yourself after him, but it would be funny if you were. I've seen pros in obviously Twitch chats and YouTube chats, not in mine, never in mine. But obviously they exist. They're people. So, but no, I thought you just named yourself after him or whatever. But anyway, let me see this. So. Funi says, why does someone always call Chronic join chat after I talk about them? Oh, that's funny. Seiko Syed says Seiko #1 rating is legit cap. Well, now I'm curious because he is the #1 rating. I don't think it's cap, but let's look at the stats here. So, he does have a great shooting percentage and an incredible goal participation percentage. So if I had to guess, it would be off these goals. I mean, he has the most goals. Yeah, that's pretty easy. He's averaging a whole 0.2, 0.3 even. Yeah, 0.3 more goals a game than the next closest person. So I'd say Seiko is entirely riding off the goals and assists. He might have the most assists a game. Second most assists. So I get what you're saying. It's probably the BDS stat padded a bit against K-Corp, which... To be fair, though, they stat padded against K-Corp. That's not a stat padding match. So I think Seiko's earned it for now. But the good news, Syed, is if you don't think he deserves it, there's going to be ample chance to lose that spot. BDS are on a break right now. Obviously, they don't play until playoffs. So once they hit playoffs, that can change. So I wouldn't be too worried about them about missing open nets. Hey. Chill. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm kind of a Seiko fan. But he missed some open nets, but... It doesn't matter how many open nets he misses if he has a really good shooting percentage still because, well, unless he's missing them so bad that they don't even register as a shot, but a lot of open net misses are just barely, and so they register as a shot. So his shooting percentage is really good right now. It wasn't at World or at the Spring Major, I'll give you that. But here at Worlds, he's actually shooting quite well. So imagine if he's if he's a real pro. Man, TRK did look great today, and actually, since we're here on this sorting by assists and goals, I mean, TRK is quite up there. If we go back to rating, he doesn't look quite as high in rating, but seriously, he looked incredible today, and I wasn't kidding. I think Falcons looked the best today. I don't think they beat Complexity in a head-to-head, but if they played them today, they very well would have beat Complexity. I think they look better. So, yeah, it's like people don't know, or maybe you didn't know, but I am a Seiko fan, so... I'm like defending Seiko, but it's a pretty easy defend. I mean, like I said, he literally has the most goals per game, the most assists, second most assists per game. Sorry, again to Zen, but he's like an offensive powerhouse so far at Worlds, so far. So, when do you reckon you could do the tier list of teams at Worlds? Well, Eddie, if you want, I could do it now. I have it open. Whenever I do, I'm gonna try and record it like a video. I didn't think I promised anyone it would be at the end, so if people want to do it early, if you guys want me to do it before I actually start the recap, since we haven't started the recap, just let me know in chat which you want me to start with, because I'll just, if I start the recap, that's going to take a while. If I do this, it might be like 20-30 minutes, but yeah, I don't mind the order. Welcome everybody in chat, by the way. I'm sure we have some new people that have hopped in. Abe, welcome Abe. Start with the tier list. All right, let's do it. I've got enough for me. Unless anyone suddenly jumps in and doesn't want to start it, I think we'll start it up first. So, in fact, I'm going to briefly change the title of my stream. One moment. Let's do. Sorry, I just realized I stopped talking. I'm tripping in my title, creating a tier list of teams at Worlds. There we go. All right. I've changed the title. Maybe we'll get more people. All right. Let's get started, though. Everyone can see it here. Here's the tier list. I'm going to start covering up. So actually, let me adjust my my little me. I'm going to make myself smaller. There we go. Hopefully that's not too small. But now, actually, I don't even need to make it that small. I'm probably not going to use that many spaces. There we go. Okay. So let's get into this. I, by the way, changed these a bit. So in case it's too tiny to read, I'll read it out. At the bottom here, I'm going to put teams that had basically no chance to make it out of wildcard. Then I'm gonna put some teams that, although they did not make it out of wildcard, I feel like they could have made it out if they got lucky. Then I'm gonna put teams that are unlikely to get out of groups. At this point, we already have some teams eliminated. So again, this is kind of like not much of a tier list at the bottom, but still. And then I'm gonna have teams that I think are gonna make playoffs. Then I have teams that I think have a chance, a really good chance at making top 4. And I might put more than 4 teams at the top here, by the way. So don't crucify me if there's like 5 teams in this top area. But, there could be more teams that have a chance of making semis than actually make semis. Oh, yeah, you're going to get the keyboard clicks. Sorry about... well, hopefully I don't click it too much during the actual recording. But I know that... I think I mentioned this, but anyone that doesn't know, I recently got a new mic like a couple weeks ago. And it is good. It's gotten better, actually. I had some problems at the start, but I kind of sorted out the mic problems. But the only bad thing is it's a very directional mic. It's not like a focus. It's not like my headset mic where it's a bad mic quality, but it's right near my face. Instead, it's pretty good quality, or at least better than it was before, but it picks up everything in my room and even beyond my room. So you're going to hear the keyboard a lot. Hopefully, no one minds. But I almost got distracted. And then lastly, it's misspelled. Nah, it's fine. And then lastly... Is it because it's like British spelling? Anyway, and then at the very top is going to be the favorite to win the tournament. And I'll probably just try and put 1 or 2 teams as favorites. I'll put 2 teams as favorites. So, anyone using a headset? I started out. I call this. It's not really a headset, but I use my headphones microphone. But that was only for a little bit. Well, it was the British spelling, wasn't it? I don't know. Don't you in British you just put U's and everything? I don't know. I didn't create the entire tier list. I obviously, I'm not going to reset it now, but if I reset it, I'm pretty sure that spelling was there from the start. And some of these things I edited, but I didn't edit favorites. Anyway, without further ado, though, I don't want to drag people along. Let's get into it. I think the easy thing to do is going to be start putting some teams that have no shot to advance. And I was going to put these 4 in. I don't want to be a offense to Pioneers, but I thought from the get-go they weren't really at the quality, and then losing to Elevate like I thought they would really confirmed it, that I just don't think they had a shot. They didn't have a shot. Bottle of water. What's funny is when I was in middle school, there was someone in my I'm American, by the way, it's probably obvious, but I was in middle school. There was a transfer student, or not even transfer, but their fan, like he moved from Britain or the UK. I don't even know where in the UK. I was so young that I didn't really know the difference. But he moved from the UK to the US, and he was in my middle school class, and he got us to say the bottle of water, because he just thought it was funny how we said water. But apparently that's a joke for like Americans to make British people say. But anyway, it's just funny how differently you say that same phrase. But anyway, all right. That's pretty much it for the teams with no chance to advance. Let me know if you disagree, but I really think these 4 teams were a little bit of a tier below. So moving right along, we'll get into the teams that could have made groups, but it would have taken some luck. Let's see. Am I forgetting anybody, or is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14? Okay, perfect. There we go. I made sure I got all the wildcard teams. Free my boys and gladiators. Listen, I don't hate gladiators, but they went 0 and 12 or whatever. Literally have a freestyler. Nah. I've heard rumors about who gladiators are going to get as a replacement, and if it's true, I'd be really interested to see how they do. There's a player, and this is supposedly a rumor, but the person that posted it has posted correct things before, which makes me theorize that it might be a leak and not a rumor. But anyway, there was a rumor that the Gladiators are going to pick up Flitz. For anyone that doesn't know, Flitz is a North American player. I'll briefly open him up since we're talking about it. And he is currently like LFT, and he posted that like contract signing thing, and so someone theorized he got signed by Gladiators. I don't know if it's true or not, but it could be. I don't think it would be like groundbreaking, but I do think he would elevate Gladiators a bit. Zen to Gladiators, nah. Imagine though, imagine how much Zen would farm APAC. That would be nuts. But no, but supposedly Flitz, and again, this is a rumor, but yeah, it seems like one of those rumors that could actually happen. Rumor is Flitz might be moving to APAC to play for Gladiators, so we'll see if that happens. And if I remember correctly, he was playing on the squad that went to Gamers 8, yes. So part of the theory here is obviously he met the Gaming Gladiators players when he was at last year's Gamers 8, so he's not like a completely unknown player. That's definitely his biggest thing, though, is that he went to last year's Gamers 8 on a team called All Mid. All right. Radosin is so good at defense. Oh, LCT, 2 Vitality, 4 Radosin. Nah, Funi. Nah, Funi, I get what you're saying, but Radosin's playing like a top 10 player in the world right now. And I know it's not always there in the stats. We'll swap back to this, or the tier list, rather. I know it's not always there in the stats. By the way, everybody, if you're just joining in, I know we have a ton of new viewers. We are doing a tier list, but I get distracted by chat frequently. So welcome to anyone in the chat, and you're welcome to chat and join into the chat. So let's see. Ion, welcome to the stream. Ion, why get rid of Radosin? They're dominant. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I think Radosin's the top 10 player in the world right now. And now, there's always going to be those people talking about what if you put in Vatira, what if you put in Monkey Moon. But I don't even think you replace Radosin for those type of players, because even though that might be a paper upgrade, I don't think you need to upgrade Vitality right now. I think Radosin has the mentality on lock. And having a player that has the mentality on lock is really important. So even when he own goals, he keeps the team steady. He helps keep the team steady. So exactly, Ion. That's another point too. You don't need to get rid of a player just because they're the worst on the team. If the team's winning everything, don't change it. Why would you change what's perfect? So, yeah. Definitely, I'm giving Vitality at least a whole nother season. They would have to pull a BDS before I'd say get rid of Radosin. What I mean by that is, BDS this year, they won the World Championship, then they kind of dropped off. If Vitality drops off next year and does 2 bad splits in a row, then you talk about it. But not yet. All right, but enough about Radosin, because we're not even close to talking about Vitality yet. We got to get through this tier list. And I'll briefly actually explain this because I didn't go through it. These are the teams that could have made groups, but they didn't. They were in wildcard and got out in wildcard. And I actually have Oxygen maybe higher than I should, but I still feel like they had some really strong moments. They took Complexity to Game 7. And yeah, I feel like Oxygen's the most talented of these 4, so I really feel like they could have made it. Losing to G1's pretty poor. Maybe I should move G1 up. Maybe this is the order, but the order doesn't really matter much. All of these teams could have made groups, but they were just not likely to, and they didn't. So now let's talk about teams that are unlikely to leave groups. And honestly, now that we're already into it, I mean, we can just list the teams that didn't make it. So we got Twisted Minds, we got Ninjas in Pajamas, we got who is it? Team Secret. And FaZe. And you know what? Just for fun, I'll order them exactly... Nope. Whoops. There we go. Exactly like this. So, genuinely, I think FaZe would have lost to pretty much anybody in groups. Even Secret, even Ninjas in Pajamas, for sure. For sure. So, Eddie, yes. Auction on paper is good. That's why I put them there, even though they didn't do great in wildcard. I don't know. I just still believe in the... I really believe that... and I was mentioning it last stream how... Although they have mentality issues, I really feel like if you pair Archie or Jorez with a good 2 solid teammates that don't have mentality issues, they'll succeed. I don't know if they can succeed together, because I think they both have some of that mentality problem once you're down in a series. But Gladiators should have subbed me in. Sure, Funi. Sure, they would have gone 1 game. Sure. But yeah, Archie top 15. Well, if you're just doing pure talent, I have no idea because I haven't made that list in my head. It's possible he's top 15. He's definitely good. In fact, I mean, well, I saw him a lot because I was rooting for Endpoint last season, and obviously he ended up on Endpoint at the end of the season. And I think it's just a tough role to fill to replace Seiko, but he definitely could have done a tad better. But, you know, he's still a really good player. And like I said, I think he'll succeed on the right team. So we'll see what happens. Joya went crazy today. He did. We're going to talk about that. We're in the midst of this tier list that I just realized I forgot to record. So actually, chat, you're going to hate this, but we are going to restart. We're going to restart. I forgot to hit record. You know what? I'll get it from the VOD. It just won't be posted right away. I'll get it from the VOD and piece it together. In the meantime, let's talk about this. So, we got... Now I'm trying to decide. I kind of want to post a video today, so I've changed my mind again. People are going to hate this in live stream, but I'm going to go back and redo it again. You guys are all going to act like I didn't just do this already. I'm going to make it easy for myself and put them all in order. You guys will know the truth, but no one watching the actual video will know that I messed up. All right. In the meantime, before I actually start the recording, let's finish talking with chat. So, you said SSG playoffs bound. It's very possible. I favor them over Rule 1, but it's not for sure. And, you know, let's briefly talk results. Everyone's talking results. Let's throw them up. Well, let me even zoom in a bit. Well, maybe not too much, because then we can't see them all. But what did you guys think of today? Because we'll do this real quick, and then we'll do tier lists and try to just burn through the tier list without getting distracted. Tier list of players at Worlds. I should have, didn't I? I guess I only did top 10. I didn't do a full list. So maybe we do a tier list of players tomorrow during the watch party at some point. I'll try and remember to do that, or you guys can remind me. Wipe my memory from 10 minutes ago. Exactly. No one knows that I started the tier list. We never started. Hello, Cosmic. Wait, did we just have someone named Cosmic, or was that a different name? No, it was Chronic. Never mind. Welcome, Cosmic. Names are all running together. Welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoy it. We have 10 viewers, so awesome, everyone that's on. I hope you're enjoying the stream. I know we can get a little hectic in here, but I will start the tier list soon. I am watch partying tomorrow, Nofuni. I'll start when the matches start. I don't know if I'll go the whole day, but I'm committed that on Sunday I'm going to go the whole way. It's going to go the whole way, so. Season 5 comments. Yes, it's all the pros. So, but yeah. All right. Let's get started. As I'm about to do this, by the way, for anyone that's just new or just getting into the stream, we're about to do tier list. And I'm going to record the video while we're doing this, which to you guys, you might not even notice the difference, but it just means that I'm not, yeah, your top 10's one player. I can't tell if you're probably kidding, but it wouldn't be impossible. But anyway, we're just going to quickly record the video. You guys won't even know the difference. I just won't be talking to the chat as much for the next little bit while I record this tier list. So without further ado, let's do the tier list. Hey everybody, AskPat13, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a tier list of all the RLCS teams at Worlds. Now obviously Worlds is already most of the way through, so we're just going to have to roll with it. I have some different categories in here that kind of align with that, so I'm going to be talking about teams that had no chance at making it out of wildcard. I'm going to talk about some teams that could have made it to groups if they got a little bit luckier than they did. I'm going to talk about teams that are unlikely or have no chance at making it out of groups. I'm going to talk about teams that are likely to make playoffs. Teams that have a realistic chance of making semis, and then the favorites to win the whole tournament. So first of all, let's start off with the teams that had no shot at making out of wildcard. I think it's fair to say that both Sub-Saharan African teams had no chance, and despite Limitless beating Valiant, I'm actually going to put Valiant a little bit above them in the same tier, because I think Valiant showed more. They won a game off Power, one of the non-Sub-Saharan African teams, and I feel like they did show a little bit more than Limitless despite losing the head-to-head. I think they had a better chance of winning against some of these other squads. They looked more controlled, more poised on stage. So in the next two, there are two more teams in this tier. Probably the obvious one here is Gaming Gladiators. They went 0-12, and they really had no shot. I feel like if they played the Sub-Saharan African teams, they would have beat them, but they weren't doing much besides that. And then lastly in this tier is Pioneers. Now, it's probably no surprise to have them low, but maybe people thought I would rate them higher, but they really just didn't look that great. And I think losing to Elevate kind of seals that. They didn't really have a very good chance at making it out of the wild card. And moving right along, let's go into the teams that could have made groups if they got a little luckier. So I think the first team I'm going to talk about here is Power. They definitely could have made it to groups if they got the right bracket, and they almost did. They got both Sub-Saharan African teams as their 2 wins. So they already got lucky, and then all they needed to do was win that one best of 7. They ultimately could not do so. So I don't rate them too high, but I definitely think that they had a chance if the stars aligned. Next up, I'm going to talk about Elevate. Elevate made it to round 5. I think a lot of people didn't expect it. I expected it. It's kind of what I predicted, but a lot of people didn't think they'd be beating some of these teams. So I think they showed a lot of their worth, and they could have beat Secret in a different day, or if they got in a different team. Like if they played Power, I think they would have made the main event, the groups. So definitely a good showing from Elevate. Next up, probably not a surprise at all, G1. They looked quite good. They had obviously a very poor start, losing 2 series in a row, including to Elevate, but Elevate ended up looking better than people thought they would, and ultimately G1 did make it to that round of 5. And then lastly is Oxygen. Now, they only went 1-3, but I still want to mention them here just because of the pure talent of these 3 players. You got Archie, Jorias, and Ixo, and they really could have done better if they just put the pieces together. Even though they lost to G1, I still think that if they put some things together, like for example, they went to Game 7 against Complexity, they got a little luckier in different situations. I think they had a higher chance of making it to groups. All right, now we're going to take a break from recording. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. Anyone that's new to the stream, welcome. We're doing recording. I'm going to take a break between different portions of this recording, this tier list, to try and talk to chat. Let's see. What do people say? I feel like I got sent to another video. Oh yeah, I just went into video mode. Gladiators didn't win a single game. Yeah, they did not win a single game. It's pretty rough. They did worse than both SSA teams. It's true, Cosmic, but I really wish they got to play because I feel very confident that they would have taken games if they played one of them. I think they also would have won the series against both Sub-Saharan Africa teams, but that's technically not for sure. So by the same token, I think the Sub-Saharan Africa teams would have liked to play them because they might have got their win against APAC at full strength because last time they beat APAC, it was with a sub. So I definitely think both sides would have wanted to play each other. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it. Watching Elevate beat J1 live was so hype. Oh yeah, I didn't get to watch that one live, which I really hate, but I got to watch Pioneers live, and I actually live streamed it. You can watch the reaction. It's in my most recent video, that reaction, and what an incredible run from Elevate. Truly, it was exciting. It was exciting. And they did Mystic, yeah. Obviously, taking a game off Vitality made everyone rate them a little higher, but I've been a fan for a while, so I believed in him. Welcome, Ahmad. Welcome back to the stream. I think adding another tier between playoff spawn and unlikely to leave groups would be a good idea. Well, now I've already started recording the video. Did I? No. Well, it's already too late because I started. I think that, nah. I get what you're saying. There probably is another tier gap, but if we get into it and I truly feel there's a tier gap, then I'll split it up a bit. I think I shouldn't have called it playoffs bound. I think I should have called it likely to make playoffs. Because I think I'm going to put both Space Station and Rule 1 in the same tier. But I get what you're saying, Ahmad. I think it's just I named it wrong. Because I think this is the right amount of tiers. I probably should have just named it different. I'm not going to do a third take. No. We're going to keep going with this. From the greatest to least of the tier left to right. Greatest to least. That's what I'm doing. Oh, maybe you couldn't tell. I guess I didn't say it in the first segment, but this is greatest to least greatest. Well, second tier, least likely, or whatever. Anyway, it's all good. Let's just keep going with it. Let's roll. And I'm going to start recording again. So, yeah, playoffs bound makes it sound like so positive. I'm going to talk through how Rule 1 and Space Station are both playoffs bound because obviously that's not going to happen. But let's get into it. You guys will try and hear my off-the-cuff reasoning. And next up here, we're going to talk about the teams that are likely, or I should say unlikely rather, to leave groups. So the first one I think that definitely bears mention is FaZe Clan. Now, FaZe Clan, they're not a bad team, despite what a lot of people like to meme about, especially after today. For anyone who doesn't know, on the day I'm recording this, they lost to Moist, and that means they're out of groups with 0 wins at Worlds. And that's not surprising. But I still think that even if they hadn't already made groups, I would put them above a lot of teams in the wildcard. I think they could have made it through wildcard. But they're going to be the lowest team in this tier just because they have looked so poor, and with all the mentality issues, the kicking of their coach, I think it's fair to say that they don't belong. They were unlikely to ever make it out of groups, and especially now that they're out. So first side of them. Next, I'm going to talk about Secret. And yes, I do think a lot of these teams I'm going to put above them actually would have beat FaZe. I think FaZe looked like the worst team today despite taking 2 games. One of those 2 games they took was a bit of a throw from Moist. So it really kind of was a one, almost it could have easily been a 4-1, 4 games to 1 series. But talking more about Secret here, I think they're another great team, and they've really showed, and in KV1 especially, why they belong and the top 16 at Worlds. But they were unlikely to leave groups, and obviously now they're eliminated. So there really wasn't a lot going for them, a lot going for Secret. So this is pretty much as high as you could put them. Next up is Ninjas in Pajamas, another team that again is already eliminated. But I have to talk about this because I'm making it now. And I really think Ninjas in Pajamas showed more than I was expecting. They did go winless in series, but at Worlds, but they really showed their grit, I think, with the games they put up today against Complexity. They showed why they belong on a world stage, and they also took Crew all the way to Game 7. So a lot of good showing from them. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about Twisted Minds. Now, I don't necessarily know if they'd be exactly here, but I do think that I'd have them over Ninjas in Pajamas just because they've put up so much of a fight both throughout the wildcard stage and in this group stage. They took it all the way to Game 7 against Rule 1, and they didn't look too half bad in their first series either. And they had a good wildcard, despite only making it through in round 5. I think they look pretty good in wildcard, look pretty good here at groups. So they're not making it out, but another solid team out of MENA, which actually I should mention is really telling that MENA's grown to be a 3-team, at least a 3-team region. So a lot of growth from this region, and it's really good to see them do so well. So next up, I'm going to talk about the playoffs bound teams. Now, maybe this is a little misleading to call it playoffs bound because you could probably tell I'm going to have more teams than actually can make playoffs. I mean, if I start counting this out, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Way too many. But, nah, I'm ending the recording there, guys. You're right. I'm ending the recording there. It's too many teams. It's too many teams. I gotta figure out who else isn't unlikely to leave groups. I'll just cut it a little early. Let's read chat. Ahmad was right. I need another tier. Alright. We're just gonna jump cut the video and no one will notice that there was no tier and then suddenly there is a tier. Oh yeah, there's no way to do this. I just need to add another tier. What color to make it? We'll just keep it yellow. No one will notice. Let's see here. What's chat saying? SSG is not likely. I'm going to have to rename these. I'll just say out because these teams were already out. Out of groups. Outside chance to make playoffs. It's too long. I don't know what to put here. What are you guys' ideas? What should I title this? Something about making playoffs, but it's not guaranteed. Astromic crying in his interview, maybe Ninja's Pajamas fan. Was that the... I didn't actually see the whole thing, but I saw it was posted. He did like a one-on-one interview that was like, you know, made before, like an edited interview segment. Because I need to watch that. I feel like those are going to be so much better than the interviews after the matches. Playoffs unlikely. I like that. Ahmad is always right, bro. He did do the interview. Oh, and welcome, Swat. I just noticed you're in chat. Welcome. FaZe down. I missed a lot of things. Where's my boy Roldiz? 4th year Rule 1, man. That series was so chilling. What a very close match for Rule 1. They really could have lost that. Decent shot at playoffs. I kind of like... who was it? What did they say? Playoffs unlikely. I kind of like playoffs unlikely. Just because I think it's fair to say that only 8 teams can make it. So it's kind of tough to put like more than like 8 or 9 in playoffs bound. So let's do playoffs unlikely. And then I'll just say it. No. I think I have to. I think I actually have to separate them. So I'll put 4 teams in this tier as well. I guess it's gonna be 4 teams, 4 teams, 3 teams, 1 team. I guess I will do it like that. I'll put this high chance. High chance at semis. Foodie, oh my gosh. Okay, so Ahmad, just for reference. Now it's going to be a joke. We've had multiple people come in that have the same names as pro players. Obviously, we've seen you in chat around before, so. You're Ahmad from Falcons for real. Oh, yeah. Everybody here. We got all the pros here. All right. Oh, wow. 13 viewers. Welcome, everybody that's new to chat. I hope you're enjoying the stream. We're doing a tier list right now. I'm in the midst of renaming some of these categories. If you're enjoying the stream, please don't forget to subscribe. It's the #1 way to help my channel grow, and it helps you get notified when I'm live or I put out a video. So, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Falcons, please win World SWAT. Oh, I mean, they could. It's unlikely, but you know what they say? If you can get through Vitality, they don't say this, by the way. I'm just making this up right now. If you can get through Vitality, you can get through anyone. So if Falcons make playoffs and beat Vitality, suddenly the world's opened up. They can really win the whole thing if they win that first playoffs match. You know what's funny, Cosmic, is I'd agree, but that's the thing. Crew and Falcons play each other, so one of them is guaranteed. But I think you're right. I think I'm going to do that and just talk. I'm just going to talk through it. I'm just going to talk through it because I still think Rule 1's a little bit better than Falcons, although I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. So I'm not. I would, but I think I know how I'm gonna do this. So, all right, let's keep going, chat. I finally got in my head what I'm gonna say roughly. So let's get into it. All right. So next up, we're gonna talk about teams that are unlikely to make playoffs. And no, this category didn't suddenly appear out of nowhere. It's been here the whole time, obviously. So, first up, let's talk about complexity. Now, I know, a surprise, whoa, complexity. Actually, I'm mentioning them now, but they're probably not going to be the lowest in this tier. But it's just because of the teams they're playing. So this is it's a bit of a strange tier list because now we know the bracket. So I'm really looking at it from the lens of knowing the matchups, and they have to play a really tough opponent to make playoffs. They have to play Carmine Corp. So I think that you can't say anything but playoffs unlikely. It is interesting, though, because were they in a different spot in the bracket, that easily flips around to playoffs bound. So it's an interesting one. I think they're one of the strongest teams that won't make playoffs if they don't do it. And then let's talk about another really interesting matchup to make it, because everyone knows it's Space Station versus Rule 1 at this point. And I think it's fair to say Space Station are the favorites there. So I'm going to have to put Rule 1, again, for similar reasons, into this playoffs unlikely slot. But I do think if they bounce back, they'll do well. I was just looking at some of the stats, and one of the things that stood out to me is how poor Clears is doing as an individual. He is currently in the bottom 4 for the entire World Championship individually in terms of octane rating. And stats aren't everything, but I think that's indicative of how poor this team is doing. Clears has poor shooting percentage, poor stats in general, and they're going to need to bounce back to beat Space Station. It's possible. The road's not over for them, but I do think it's a bit unlikely at this point. Next up, we'll talk about Crew. I do think Crew here are going to be the underdogs to Falcons, and although I thought they looked great against Liquid, they looked decently well against Liquid, after how Falcons played today, I think I've knocked them down a peg and how far I think they can go, just because Falcons did, like I just mentioned, looked incredible today. Truly, I think the best any team looked out of the lower round ones, so I think Falcons are coming in hot, and it's going to be a lot for Crew to handle. And then last in this group, I am going to put Moist. It's not impossible that they make it on to playoffs, but they're facing a really tough opponent in G2, and I don't think you could favor them. Actually, I'll swap this around here. I don't think you could favor them. I think that they looked good today, but it's because they were playing FaZe Clan, one of the weaker teams in this group stage. Next, we'll talk about playoffs bound. So now we're down to our final 8 teams, and there are teams that I feel are very confident are playoffs bound. So let's talk about it. I think first up, Bears mentioned Space Station. On account of how they looked against Vitality. And I know it wasn't like a great series from series score. They only won 1 game. But taking a game off Vitality in the way that Vitality were playing, it just really looked like Space Station was clicking on all 4 cylinders. And I think they're facing a weak Rule 1, a Rule 1 that does not look as strong as they did in the Spring Major. So if Space Station continue to look strong and Rule 1 continues to look weak, this is about where I'd expect Space Station to finish. Additionally, we're going to talk about G2. G2 have surprised me a lot. I think they outperformed what I thought they would do at Worlds, and I think they have a really good chance here at making playoffs. So I'll be interested to see how they do, especially if J Neps keeps playing the way he's been playing. They'll do very well here and make it into playoffs. Next up is Falcons. I think this Falcons squad has done quite well, and part of what makes me put them a bit higher here, although I'll put them a little bit behind G2, is similar to G2, and I didn't mention with G2, is both these teams have that LAN experience. G2 has won a major before with this squad. They've made it to a grand finals at Worlds before. And Falcons also has that experience. They made the grand finals of last year's spring major, the furthest the MENA team has ever gone. And although they've looked a lot weaker at different times since then, they're looking like they're almost back on that LAN form. And if they can really put that together, then they not only are going to be at playoffs, but you could always have a chance to make semis. So really good play from Falcons. Then lastly here, it would have to be probably would have to be Gen G. I think it would have to be Gen G. They've played very well, but I don't know if they have a high chance at semis yet, especially with the opponent they're going to have to face. They have to play either Carmine Corp or Complexity, arguably easily the toughest matchup in that first round of playoffs. So although they're already in playoffs, they are actually guaranteed to be playoffs bound. I don't know if we'll see them get much further. So now we're down to our final four, and there's not going to be a lot to reveal here, so I might as well just put them all at once and talk about it. These are your four favorites. There is a clear outlier, though. That would be Liquid. They still have a pretty good chance at making semis, though, especially with the way the bracket worked out for them. Beating Complexity was a very important Game 7 for them. It really set them up well. And then I think, like I was mentioning, Carmine Corp still have to play in groups. They could lose to Complexity, although unlikely. So they're also down here and just a high chance to make semis. And then if you had to pick the favorites, it's got to be Vitality. And I do think BDS has a really good chance behind Vitality, though. So this is where I put all the teams. I think Vitality remains the favorites, especially with what we've seen. And although these tiers aren't perfect, I apologize if you would prefer a different way to make the tiers, because obviously this is very results-based and not actually skill-based. But it was just an interesting way for me to think through another way to talk about how these teams are doing. I hope you liked the video. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribing is the #1 way to help my channel grow, and it helps you get notified when I put out new videos. As always, I appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, stop recording. Had to be very careful not to hit the end stream button, because obviously we're live on stream. How do you guys think I did? I'm talking like I'm making a video because I was recording a video, but obviously you guys get to react right now. Very boring. I had boring picks. I apologize. It is boring. But I think that maybe we do this again. Nah, we're not going to do it again. But if I did do it again, I probably would actually just rank skill, because this was a little more boring. If it was skill, things would be shaken up a bit. But that's all right. Let's see. What did I miss in chat? I missed a lot. SSG is losing. They very well could. They could, man. I don't want to say there's no chance. But, because there isn't, to be clear. But Space Station looks so good against Vitality, and that's kind of a lot of what I'm basing it on. So we'll see. And again, Rule 1 are weaker than they usually are. If they step back up to their spring major form, they're favored against Space Station. That's the thing, though. We haven't seen that yet. I hate to say it, but even their match against Twisted Minds at Game 7, they did not look like the spring major semifinalists there. So. Alright, Vitality versus Falcons. Falcons will win. SWAT, I love the belief, because you definitely should believe as a fan. And it is possible. It very is possible. It's unlikely, but it is possible. And if we go back to my predictions, since we are talking about this, I only gave Falcons a game, but as I have mentioned, this was before I saw Falcons today against Secret, and I really do think they looked the best out of all the teams that played today. So if they beat Crew and they're hot, a team coming in hot, there's always a chance. You guys are talking about Cash. Yeah, Joyo is better. Cash is funnier to watch. Funner to watch. Yeah, Joyo is the best of the three, by the way, for sure. I've at times really liked Cash, and I think Cash is a good player, and he always is getting better, but people around him obviously get better as well. But we'll see how it goes. I think that obviously Juicy's the odd man out. I don't know for sure that they'll make a change. You think Moist is clear of G2? Interesting, Ahmad. Interesting. I don't think Moist is on form. I think they were playing FaZe. I don't want to base a lot off FaZe. I underrate FaZe. And maybe it's because, again, I predicted G2. So, but G2 have been so on form. Like, let's look at their run again. So before you go too bad on G2, they literally beat Real 1 4-1. And yeah, they lost pretty solidly to Gen G. But if we go back to the wild card, G2 looked dominant. They beat Space Station in Game 7, but then they beat Complexity in a sweep. And actually, a lot of this that I'm saying is riding off this sweep of Complexity, because I was underrating G2 and then they swept Complexity. Then I underrated them in groups and they beat Rule 1. And so now it's like they've beaten two teams I thought were clearly better than them by a lot. So I just kind of rating G2 for now. And I do want it to be said, JNaps is playing on fire. So if G2 win, it's going to be because JNaps is playing like his old days. Like he's back to like peak JNaps out of nowhere pretty much. NA MVP finishing worse than Sam 2 seed. That is true. Well, and to be fair, I think we all knew FaZe was going to do poor. So maybe they should have given it to Appjack. Apparently Jack, after all, the MVP. See, Moist is looking better than G2 just based on the last games played. And yeah, if you look at the very most recent series, but the thing is, G2 got a break. So even though Moist is coming off a win, I think G2 is not going to come in with like a loser's mentality. Cosmic, I'm literally higher than you on the 1 leaderboard. Very funny, Funi. You should change favorites to finals. I probably should, Eddie, but it's too late. I've already made the video, and I'm a lazy person, so we're not going to do take 3. Based and boring. That's funny, SWAT. Alternating opinions. Genji has a 60% chance. I'm reading old chat, by the way, just because I'm going through this so late. I've gotten lost. I've lost it. Alright, I missed part of chat, but that's okay. People were talking about Gaming Gladiators. Gaming Gladiators is a fun team. We'll see how they do when they get a replacement in. For who is it? I don't remember who they're replacing. First Killer is so arrogant. He can be. They did fall off really hard. Mystic, they did. Atomic regained his 21-22 form. You know, Cosmic, I think that's a good point. I think Atomic is kind of back a bit. But again, I kind of rate G2. I think that they're back because JNaps is back, and he hasn't been back in a while. Funny part is it came from nowhere. I've talked about this, but if anything, I think G2 coming back, it's come from the fact that JNaps had that personal struggle. His family's house burned down. I mentioned that. I probably should stop mentioning that because it's kind of a personal thing. But it's public knowledge. His family's house burned down, and obviously that has a huge impact on its life. Thankfully, everyone's okay. I realize I say that. No one got hurt. His whole family was okay, but it's a serious thing to lose your home. And so I think it's taken him a while to recover from that, like mentally, and now he's back. Apparently Jack best looking European. He's the best looking not American, but he's the best looking North American player, I'd say. Although, well, then again, we looked at stats, and stats wise he's near the bottom. But he has his games where he looks good. Nolly has looked fantastic for Gen G, I will say. Fantastic. UK is from Europe. Haters will say no. Why are there no teams from NA semifinal favorites? Warp Spectrum, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. I don't know if I've seen you on stream before, but I've definitely seen your comments. Let's go back to the tier list real quick. Good question. And the reason why is there's a very realistic chance none of them make semifinals. If we go back to my predictions for a moment, I actually did predict Gen G over Karmi Corp. And I do think that if you had 3 North American teams in the top 8, I think one of them would make semifinals. But genuinely, I think Liquid, over the teams that they're going to play, either Rule 1 or Space Station, you got to favor Liquid. And then everybody knows Karmi Corp, Vitality, and BDS are the clear top 3. I think it's not a crazy thing to say those are the top 3 favorites. So, yeah. Gen G could do it. I think Gen G is probably most likely, even though they play Karmi Corp. After that, maybe if Space Station pops off. Gen G fuels on EU crowds. Again, I think Gen G having won the major, they are the favorites of the North American teams for sure. Even though they have to play Karmi Corp, because they've done it before. They've beaten these top teams before at a major. So you don't even like Karmi Corp, but you see it happening? You don't see it happening. Yeah. I mean, Actually, I feel like it's more likely Complexity beat Carbon Corp than Gen G. Because as I mentioned it before, I think Complexity has a really good playstyle to beat out some of these European teams. I mentioned it against Vitality, but I feel like Complexity's playstyle is good against European teams. That pace of play. I'll have the OMG forgot to frost the chicken and mom. They will have. If you're talking about Gen G, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that even means, Funi, but I appreciate it. Mum. That's true. It's true. I think Vitality will probably go out in semis. Warp Spectrum. I don't think so. I think that if they're gonna lose, they're gonna lose in the finals. Just because there'll be so much pressure. But I do think Vitality could lose at any point. It's just they've played so well. It's hard. You can't. It would kind of be silly to predict such a low chance happening because them losing is such a low chance happening. Honestly, Swat's predicted Falcons, and we'll see. He's definitely could be right. We'll see how it goes. What are the first matches played tomorrow? Because tomorrow we get to see 2 playoff matches. We are going to get to see Falcons. So back at SWAT tomorrow, if you're going to be in the watch party, although you probably are going to want to watch the Arabic stream during the games, which is fine either way. But I'll be streaming that match probably. Falcons Vitality. We'll see what happens. If Falcons beat Crew, but I think that's fairly likely. So can you redo the tier list and base it on skill after? You know what, Eddie? We'll do that at the end. Teams playing NA teams. I need to change. Actually, you know what? We still have tier list in the title, so we'll go back and do the tier list again. You agree with Moist? Breezed through groups and I went out 5th, 8th last Worlds. You have a reason? The favorites curse. Warp Spectrum, you've said that, and that is a good point. I actually agree that a lot of times it's really hard to win back-to-back. I know some people call it a curse. I don't even think it's a curse. I just think winning back-to-back is hard, and the reason why is when you've won, it's just, what's it called? It's like a release of emotions. You win, and it's like it means everything. So everyone just subconsciously takes a step back after they've won. Usually. You usually take a step back because you just won. Like, why are you going to try hard? You just won. So you take a break from practicing, and that can hurt you. That can hurt you a lot. So I feel like if Vitality, I don't think they did it, but if they took a break, even a short break because they won, then that could have an impact. And I think Warp Spectrum, that is why you see that it's tough to win twice in a row. Rocky Stream. Ooh, Cosmic asked, do I have Fan RL? I do. You know what? Let's look at that real quick. Fan RL. I'm going to log in. So I have a league that is kind of impossible to join at this point. But this is my fantasy team. How is it doing? I haven't looked. Not great. Let's look at the league. I'm leading the league, but not by much. Who else? Is anyone in chat in my league? Because a couple people did join. This person has a team, and then this person. I don't know who they are. This team's not doing great. Well, I guess we're all pretty close, but technically I'm winning in my own group, but only 3 people. Senzo did better than I expected, although after wildcard he took a step back a bit. Zen, as expected, Jorfinho, good. Rise could be better. I should have picked Seiko, actually. Realize, I'm happy the way he finished where he did, and then TRK is doing well. 3,100. Well, I'm beating you, but not by much. Not by much at all. All right, let's go back. I missed Senzo, my boy. You can't be doing my bro like that. Wait, what did I say? Senzo's great. Did I say something about Senzo? I picked Senzo for a reason. I think he's done well. Again, he stepped back. He did much better in wildcard. But, I'm still happy that after I picked him and I was worried about picking him, that he actually did do well. Because I was worried. I picked him because I like Senzo, but I was worried it was going to be a mistake. But no, it was a good decision. If Falcons going to keep heating up. A lot of people in chat like Falcons. I will say, guys, I think teams that have gone far in lands are more likely to beat Vitality. And Falcons is one of those teams that have proven themselves and made it grand finals before. So if anyone can go deep in a land run, it's these land teams, and Falcons one of them. So they definitely could. I think Falcons have a much higher chance of beating Vitality than Crew does. I'll put it that way. I think Vitality smokes Crew, but I think Falcons have a better odds. All right. A link to FanRL? here. I don't know if this will work. But there we go. Please do Gamers 8 watch party. Yeah, yes, maybe. I'm thinking about doing Gamers 8. It just depends on if I'm busy that weekend. I need to figure it out. Because I might be busy that weekend, but it wouldn't be both days. So I'd stream at least one of the 2 days of Gamers 8 for sure. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody in chat. There was a lot of chats. Oh, Z Funky, welcome to the stream, Z Funky. That might be the first time I've seen you say anything. Ahmad might pull a top 4 upset. You know, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Oh, Swat, you were asking about it as well. Yes, I am going to at least definitely make videos about Gamers 8. At the very least, but I'm probably going to watch party at least one of the days. It's closed now. It is closed, guys. You can't join it. I probably should have even sent the link. It is closed. All right. Exotic and LJ in attack, AJ, Amphis, midfield, JNAP's rise. Okay, nice. JNAP's is probably doing nice work for you. I think Exotic's underperformed a little bit. Everybody else about normal. Rise was underperforming for me, so maybe for you as well. You have to smoke screen Vitality to win. Very true, very true. You're not going to watch Gamers 8? If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. It's not threes. It's what's it called? Crew battle. I like crew battle. I really like the format, but I understand people don't like it. So no, Astro Carmine Corp is not better than current Carmine Corp. But that's a good question. I dismissed it. I shouldn't dismiss it because it is a good question to think about. But my immediate answer is no. I think this team won a major. They won a major, man. I mean, you can't really argue that they won the Winter Majors. So I feel like it's pretty clearly they're better. But I get what you're saying. I think peaking Astral is obviously very good. So, all right. Before we lose too many viewers, let's do that other tier list, and then let's reset. Let's just reset, and see. It's not my spelling; it's the automatic spelling. But let's change this all around. Let's do best in the world, and it's not going to be one team, but best in the world, elite, really good, or actually we'll do great, good. We'll add another tier. And we're going to change the colors around too. I'm going to make it all the way from red to green because I like green at the top better. Okay. So, really quickly here, let me do this. Great, good. All right. And then, need more time because I don't want it to be negative. I think the teams I'm going to put at the bottom just are newer to the game. Like regions are newer, players are newer. They just need more time. It's not going to be negative. All right. He does it for Brazil. Who is that? Wait. Was that a call from Yummy Cheese Man for Yan? You're talking about Yan? SWAT? Furia wins. Oh, you are. Yeah, Furia wins. I didn't even see that. Astral's probably on Liquid next season. I don't know. I've never heard that, Cosmic. I don't know what makes you say that. That would be interesting. I've not heard that, though. Astral is actually one of the players I forgot to mention yesterday. I forget. At some point, I talked about how I think that Europe's top 4 looks so much better than the rest of Europe, including Moist, because there's so many good players on the bench, and Astral is one of them. So I think once you unlock all those players on the bench, Europe's going to get even better next season. Astral Extra. Oh, someone even mentioned it. Wow, yeah. Astral Extra Sizen about to be the 4th French team in EU next season. I don't think they actually played together, but they were scrimming together, if I remember right, which means all of them should come in stronger than if they just took a break. So it's good for them that they were practicing. Noah Chronic for Astral. Oski carries. Oski for Astral. No. Don't take out Oski. Yeah. Whoever, if you're going to take a player out of Liquid, it's probably a Chronic, but do not replace him with Astral. I just don't think that works. I think you need a more glue player than Astral. Like a Chronic is the glue for Liquid, so I don't know about that. Falcons best in the world. You know what's interesting? If they sub out one of their players for Nopo, and I'm not saying they should, but if they did, if they add in Nopo, maybe Falcons will be the best in the world next year. Or they surprise us this year. I know, because you keep saying they're going to win this year. Ion says... Actually, Eddie said a Tau over Oski. Or a Toe. I always forget how to pronounce it. I like Oski better, but they're both very good. I hear a lot of people talking about a transfer between Liquid and Moist. That would be weird. Or is it Joyo for the Chronic? Because if it's Joyo for a Chronic, I want to see Liquid next season. That team's going to be fun. Any other trade, and I feel like both teams get worse, actually. Maybe not worse. Maybe Moist gets better. But the only way Liquid gets better is if they get Joyo. I don't think they get better with Cash or Juicy. You want to know where Relating Wave ends up? Me too. I do want to see where Relating Wave ends up. It would be interesting to me. Relating Wave ends up, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the crazy thing that can happen. Moving to Sub-Saharan Africa to play for one of those teams. No, I'm just kidding. I have absolutely no idea where he'll go, but probably stays in Europe. Got the script from Johnny. Falcons win. You know, Johnny, that would be Johnny's script. BDS second. Very possible. Not... Very possible that would be Johnny's script. I don't think it's likely, but technically it's not impossible. I just don't think... I don't see that happening for Worlds for sure. Johnny was giggling. He was happy. Yeah. TRK, Amato, Khaled are perfect. No need to split them up. I don't think there is. But with any great team, if they've been together too long, then it's like eventually you want to see them try something different because all three could succeed somewhere else. That's what happened with NRG. None of the NRG players looked like the odd person out, but if it's been too long, you want to change. It hasn't been too long for Falcons yet, but it hasn't. But, you know, if it's been another couple splits next season and they don't do better, maybe they split up. Definitely they shouldn't split up in the offseason unless it's for Nopo. And even then, I'm not so sure. Don't know why, but Cosmic says he really wants to see Relating Wave and Size on the same team. It might. Very well might work. They're both good players. Ahmad, tell him. Yeah. You guys are on the same page, Swan and Ahmad, for sure. Oh, Khaled is the glue. You know, Khaled's... First, I thought he was the weakest person on the team, if you had to pick one. But coming into Worlds, he's looked very good at Worlds, so... I really don't know if you do replace any. It's just kind of, you gotta see what the players choose to do. I wouldn't say they have to make a change. Without further ado, though, since it is in the title and we've been getting away from it, let's do this tier list, and maybe I'll record this, and maybe this is the better video. So, we're gonna do the recording gig again. For anyone that's new to the stream, welcome, by the way. I hope you enjoy it. If you're enjoying the stream, please subscribe. It's the #1 way to help me grow, and it helps you get notified about my videos and live streams. But we're about to record a video because I also make videos. So anyone in chat who isn't aware, I won't be reading chat for a brief moment while I'm recording, and it'll seem like you're watching a YouTube video because we're recording one live. Let's see. Last look at chat. Telling you guys a mod from Falcons is in chat. Oh yeah. W mod. Team Pigeons. Oh man, Team Pigeons. I gotta remember that one. That's a good one. They're definitely going to... I feel very confident they beat Crew, that's for sure. But we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I'll stream it. But all right, let's get into this recording. Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. It's AskPat13, and today we're going to be doing some tier lists, ranking the teams at Worlds. Now obviously a lot of these teams are already eliminated, but that's alright. Today we're just ranking skill. So we're looking at all these 24 teams, and we're going to rank them into categories based on skill. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start with the teams that need more time. I didn't want this to be a negative bottom ranking because it's not really negative. These teams, they're just newer to the scene, and they just need some more time to develop. So I think first off, we're going to talk about Valiant. I think Valiant showed a lot of promise at Worlds. They took a game off Power, which is quite good looking, and I just feel like they need more time. It's kind of unfortunate they live so far away that they don't get great scrims with other parts of the world like some other regions can. But, you know, just give them some more time to develop. Now that they've been to Worlds, I think they'll grow and be better players next season. Next up is Limitless. It's a similar story. They've had one more season to develop. All these players were at Worlds last year, but they still need some more time. Additionally, I am going to throw Gladiators in here, but I think it's in part because they had a roster move. So I think the fact that they're removing someone and they announced it before Worlds impacted their play. So we'll see how they do next season when they're a little more solid on their roster. Now we're going to go straight up to the next tier of skill. And first up in this tier is Pioneers. I think that they barely scrape in here, if I'm going to be honest. They look pretty poor, but they have some saving graces that I do think they're above the needing more time tier. And you know, a lot of people are going to see all right and think, oh, these teams are not all right. But in the grand scheme of the world of Rocket League, every team at Worlds here that's in this tier or above is all right. They are good teams. They are good teams. They deserve to be at the World Championship, and I feel it's accurate to talk about Pioneers being, you know, all right at Worlds. Next up, let's talk about Elevate. I think Elevate looked great. In fact, better than I expected. Beating, I predicted it, but they actually beat G1. They actually beat Pioneers. They deserve to be in this tier. They're just there. They're there, and they deserve to be here. And they had a chance at making it through to the next level. But there's still some concerns that you can see with their gameplay. And I think they'll slowly get ironed out as Realize improves as an individual and his squad with Kami and Virtuoso starts to play better together. So we'll see how they develop. I definitely could see a little more development in their future. If I had to put another team in this tier, it would definitely be Power. Perhaps right about the level of Elevate. I'll put them a little bit above. I think this team is very talented, but there is an odd man out. I don't want to say it like this, but it's based on stats and just eye test. You know, Torsos looked a little weak this championship, so we'll see what they do next season. I have heard rumors that Fever is going to stay with Torsos. I don't know how that will go. I think Amphis is their strongest player, but we'll see what Power do next season. And they're all good players. They all are solid, even if Torsos did look a bit weak. And I think that they'll continue to develop. But yeah, they were all right. All right, guys, a bit of a break from the video mode, but I'm trying to think about who I would put next. Yeah, I have done this a lot of times, Funi. The stream, instead of being a recap, is turned into film a video in front of a chat. But you guys are great. You guys are great. So, where's version 1 at? Yeah, where's NRG? When's NRG play, man? Oh, you even said it, Syed. You even said it. Yep, when's NRG play? They got killed by Twisted Minds. You know what's funny is I want to see version 1 play Twisted Minds at Gamers 8 because everyone talks about how version 1, some people do anyway, say version 1 should have been at Worlds, and Twisted Minds have proved why they deserve to be at Worlds themselves. But I love to see Twisted Minds beat version 1 at Gamers 8 because that would just be the funniest thing. Or even the other way around. It would just be an entertaining matchup. Entertaining. If Power replaced Torsage with Super Lucky, yeah, that would be the OC Super Team. I've heard a lot of people say it. They should. Fever and Amphis are good enough that if they picked up Super Lucky, suddenly you got an OCE team that would be top 16 in the world. I think they'd be making it out of wildcard. But I don't think OC is going to do that, which is unfortunate. They're just shooting themselves in the foot, honestly. Shooting themselves in the foot. But let's talk about this next tier. I'm trying to think about who I would put in it. Actually, I might put another couple teams in all right. I might put another couple teams because you just can't say Auction and G1 look good. They honestly didn't. They didn't look good. So, FaZe. FaZe is going to go in good, that's for sure. But I almost would put him in all right. You know what? Just for memes, I'm also going to put FaZe in all right. Twisted or bad in crew battle because none of them are S tier in ones. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't know none of them played ones. SMWs look so good, but I guess if he doesn't play ones, he's not going to do well at a tournament in ones. So that's rough. Hopefully they win their 2s and 3s though. Welcome, Jay. Welcome back to the stream. We're doing tier lists. We're supposed to do a recap, but I keep getting distracted, so now we're doing tier lists. Speaking of that, we have a lot of viewers. Welcome. We got 17 now, so if you're enjoying the stream, please subscribe. Number one way to help me grow. And we're in the middle of recording this video, so let's get right back into it. I'm going to talk about a couple more teams. So the next team that I would put in the all right tier is got to be G1. I think G1 looked better than I expected, and actually, I think a lot of people thought they looked poor because they started off quite poor with 2 losses in a row in wildcard, but they pulled it back. They won 2 matches, especially notably against Oxygen, and it kind of pulled it around. It pulled it back from the brink, and they ended up just being an all right team. A lot of kind of mess around the fact that they almost made a roster change, but then had to walk it back. So I think despite Oli looking like the strongest player on the team, they still had some chemistry issues. So all these players are good, especially Atomic and Oli, but we'll have to see what they do next season because they were just all right this time around. And right in the same vein is Oxygen. They actually beat Oxygen, G1 did, but I'm going to put Oxygen a tad higher in the same tier just because the players are also individually talented that it still shocks me that they couldn't put it together and beat G1. I think you got 2 really top tier players in Archie and Joyas, but there seems to be persistent problems with perhaps playing time, perhaps mentality during the matches. Who can say? But they both seem to struggle a lot in these LAN environments. And then the last team I'm going to put in all right. This might be a surprise to some viewers, but after their performance today, I don't think you could put FaZe anywhere else. They haven't looked good. It's a blunt way to say it, and I know they took a couple games off Moist, but FaZe have not looked good, and I think a large chunk can be put to the fact that there's all this bad publicity, all these rumors swirling around. You know that they kicked their coach right before Worlds. Although it wasn't right before Worlds, it was a few weeks before it was public. But all I have to say, they kicked their coach. Some of their players are on low hours. There's a lot of turmoil, and for all that, in addition to what we saw on the field, I don't think I can put them as a good team. I don't think they were good this Worlds. They were just all right. They weren't bad. I mean, I think if they'd been in wildcard, there's a decent chance they make it out, but they weren't good, so can't put them much higher. In the next tier, we're going to talk about the teams that are good. And there were a lot of good teams at Worlds. I was actually happily surprised, I think, how many solid contenders we have at Worlds this year. Because this is quite the list. And as you look, I mean, all these teams I actually genuinely feel are good or great or better. So a lot of good teams here. Let's start talking about some of the teams near the bottom. I think first up, I'm going to talk about Secret. And this might be a shocker for some people. Perhaps not. They've had really strong parts of the season, and they've had really poor parts this season. In fall, they got top 4, and it was not what's it called? I'm going to stop the recording. I lost my train of thought. I got to think of the word I'm trying to say, and I'll start over with Secret. But Secret had a really good top 4. It was not a fluke. That's what I'm going to say. But I've stopped the recording, so hello, chat again. I'm going to read the chat. Let's see. First killer to Optic would be wild. I doubt it. Calm to Optic. Maybe Calm to Optic. That was supposed to happen, before when Rise made a move to version 1 and then he went back. Calm was supposed to go to Optic, replacing Magic Bear. So I think that could work. Don't put Mist with AJ. I don't think Mist and AJ work. All these rumors about Mist and low hours has me wanting him to stay away from Optic because I'm cheering for Optic and I don't know if I want Mist on that squad. He's not a bad player, but the hours thing is concerning. Let's see. FaZe Moist scoreline yesterday because they got FaZe Moist was today. Oh, you got up 30 minutes ago. It was yesterday for you. We can quickly look over at it, and it was 4-2, I believe, but we can look at the specific scores. 4-2. Solid series from Moist, really. And I am going to get into this when we start talking about them, about the results, but my thumbnail for this stream is a very particular thing. Did anyone of you notice the thumbnail? There was a moment in this match where FaZe, if they capitalized on the moment, they might have won the match or at least made it closer. Because there was an insane team bump from Moist. It was crazy. It's one of the worst team bumps I've ever seen. So we're going to watch that back in the game, Rocket League in the replay system, just to see how that happened. But, oh boy. But Moist still looked good. They bounced back, but it was a really bad team bump. A really bad team bump. Jay says we can have an all-Indian roster playing against a Middle Eastern team, and I can imagine the Indians supporting the Middle East over India. I don't know anything about that, but that just sounds obviously funny on his face. The only other esport I watch that's had an India player succeed is Valorant. I know I should know his name. But there's a really good player called, I remember now, SK Rossi. I think that's how you say it. SK Rossi, and he played for Global Esports, which is an Indian org, and they didn't make the championship ever. I don't think they made a LAN, but he did really well in some of the Asia like qualifiers for LANs. They made it quite far, and he individually was strong at some points. And then he made into their league. They have a closed franchise league now. Speaking of franchising, everyone wants it to stay away from Rocket League for the most part, from what I've heard. Let me know in chat if you guys would like franchising or you think it's a terrible idea. I think it should stay away from Rocket League. I like the system we have now. It's a good system, but it's always an interesting thought because you might see more stability in rosters and people talk about players getting kicked and all that. You might see more stability if it was a franchise league. That's the one positive. Let's see here. Beast Mode needs a defensive player to change the tides of the match, and Squishy is perfect. I think I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a Squishy sub in for Calm. I think that would change the dynamics a lot on that squad. Quadrant had trouble communicating. It only was Joyo's fault. Oh, okay. I was confused. I'm like, Joyo was never on Quadrant, but you mean it with Cash, because Cash was on Quadrant. It probably was a communication thing, and the sad thing is I have no idea which one, because when we watch it back, because I've already seen it, obviously, both Cash and Joyo go for the ball like they calmed it, like it was theirs. And so I have no idea who actually called it on comms, because they both act like they called it, at least with their car language, Like they both are so confidently going for the ball and ignoring each other that I have no idea who called it. Probably Joyo, but you can't say for sure. Have we already done what ifs for the teams, for the category of teams that had a chance of making Worlds, like ones where that were just on the periphery but didn't make it? I didn't. I haven't done that yet. I haven't done the because I did a video about the teams that just missed out on the spring major, but I didn't do that for Worlds. I didn't have a lot of time, and I've been doing all these live streams, so unfortunately not. But let's quickly, any Italians in chat, best feed. Pizza's nice. Pizza's good. Let's quickly go back to this tier list, because otherwise I'm never gonna finish. All right. So I'm going to start recording again, and I was in the middle of talking about Secret, so I'm going to keep talking about them. The word I was searching for was fluke. So, Secret had a really good fall split where they got top 4, which was not a fluke. They played very well and earned that top 4 semifinal finish at the fall major, but they've had a pretty big drop-off since then. And getting top 16 at Worlds, although it's disappointing for them, I think to me it cements that they were a good team this season, and a good team now in skill. Another team I put in this exact same category is Ninjas in Pajamas. They've had moments where they look very strong, like a great team. They have other moments where they just look like an alright team. But in the whole, they definitely settle on good. It's a good squad. They've had some great matches, like I said. They've also had their weak moments. I think they put up a really good fight today against Complexity. And I think Astramic is really passionate about the game, and you love to see it. And it's one of the reasons I think this squad will continue to see them around the top of the RLCS. Is that fact that Astramic has bounced back with so many different teammates after he loses his most talented teammates along the way. So, a lot of love to Ninjas in Pajamas there. And moving right along in this category, I don't want to put them all in the same category, but I think it's likely that we're going to see Crew also here. Now, on the one hand, it's kind of concerning that none of the South American teams are great right now, but at the other time, if you have 3 teams that are good, I think it's a fair argument to give them another major slot, especially if there's an expansion. I think this region is really proven that they're in the top 4. I think everyone's kind of knows it at this point. It's clearly, everyone knows Europe, North America, but right behind them are Middle East and South America. And South America has proven it here with 3 good teams. Cruz is just a good squad. I think they have the best chance out of these 3, because they're still alive, to improve on that rating. But for now, I think I just have them in the good category. Another team that's good is Twisted Minds. And I think I'll put them right around here in the midst of the South American teams. They have really, I think, outperformed how I thought they would do at Worlds. They really showed why they belonged in that top 16 conversation. They made, it to groups, and it was deserved making it into groups. And they've really proven why they belong. Again, a lot of solid matches. They beat some European teams along the way. Some North American, I believe. Let's check their wildcard run. Because although they lost 2 matches in groups, they obviously won their 3 matches in wildcard. And I do believe it was at least Moist. Let's look it back. Yep, they beat Moist along the way. So and Pioneers in Power. So strong from them. A little weaker than Crew in part because they did lose to Crew, but a strong performance. A strong performance from Twisted Minds to be good, at this World Championship. And then perhaps the last team. Yeah, the last team I'll put here in good. This might be controversial. The last team I'm going to put in good is Moist. Now, definitely a bit controversial, but they're definitely the stronger of the teams in good. But they didn't look great. I just haven't seen greatness from them yet. I think the squad is really struggling in certain moments to communicate well. And I think Joyo, although he's a standout, his teammates haven't been as consistent. And if they're gonna be great, because they're still alive, they play G2 tomorrow when I'm filming this, they're really gonna need to just step up that communication game with the three of them. And especially, they had a kind of shaky wildcard run to get here. So that's where I put Moist in the good category. And again, all these teams are good, so this isn't an insult, although it may seem like it. I just think that there was the most good teams we've ever seen at an RLCS LAN this time around. All right, another break in the video making process. Let's see. Teams fluctuate. They definitely fluctuate. 100%. I don't know what you were saying before, but I agree, Mystic. Mina deserves 2 more spots. I think if we expand, I would love to see them get to 3 and equal with Sam, both Sam and Mina at 3. If we had 20 teams at the major, and then one spot for Sub-Saharan Africa. The problem is if we don't expand, I don't know how you get Mina to 3. It's going to be really hard if we don't expand. But I just think they should expand. They should just increase the number of teams at majors, and that way everyone can get what they deserve. So, what 2 matches? Jay, I don't know what you're referring to. All in all, after Nopo, yeah, they definitely deserve 3 spots in the grand scheme of things at majors. Again, it really just depends on if they add more spots, because I don't like the idea of taking away spots. I'm not opposed to it, but if we take away spots, it's going to be hard to justify 3 for Mina, because you're going to take away a spot for Mina too, and you have to take away a spot from somebody for Sub-Saharan Africa. So then you're down to probably 1 OCE team and maybe 4 North America teams, maybe. And then it's like, where do you go from there? I don't think you can take away the 4th North American spot for a 3rd. I just don't think you do that for a 3rd Mina spot. I think you need to expand. I think that's the easy way. Expand, then you get, you'd still have 5 North American teams, 5 European teams, 3 Middle East teams, 3 South American teams, 2 OCE, 1 APAC, 1 Sub-Saharan Africa. 20 spots. That's my preferred method. Idea for majors. Oh, you have a group and a wild card. That would be interesting, Syed. I'm not opposed to what you're proposing there. That's not bad. That's not bad. The problem is obviously going to be costs, because it seems like Sonics is trying to avoid high cost majors. But I like it. I think it would be better for competition if we did it your way, for sure. Let me reach out a little bit. Twisted Minds and Rule 1 shouldn't roster change. Whoa, wait a second. Cosmic, because somebody's got to. It's either got to be Falcons, Twisted Minds, or Rule 1. And I feel like Twisted Minds is the ones that should be most looking for a roster move, because obviously they've done the worst. So, I do think Twisted Minds should change. If they can sub out Venom for Naupo, and I'm not saying they always take out Venom. I'm saying if you get Nopo, then you get rid of Venom. Just because Nopo is going to be an instant upgrade, and that squad would do a lot better. Ocalid hair. Better than peak Yukio. Oh, spicy opinions here. 30 teams? That's a lot. Wait, did someone predict 30 teams? I didn't even notice. Maybe. Woolly Mammoth, what did he say? Don't rate Genji great. Well, Genji are going to be great or elite. I mean, there's not a lot. There's definitely not good. I mean, they made top 8, so I think they are at least great. And they won a major this season too, to be fair to them. Same major format, all 3 splits would be boring. Ooh, to spicy, you're saying like change the major formats. Well, that's kind of what we do now. That's probably what you mean. SWAT says 5 EU, 5 NA, 3 MENA, 3 SAM, 2 OC, 1 APAC, 1 Sub-Saharan Africa. Yep, that's what I said. I agree. 20 teams. It works the best. Liquid is winning Worlds 100%. Welcome, Trouble. Welcome to the stream, new viewer. I don't think they win Worlds, but I think that they have a decent shot at making semis for sure, especially with their bracket. And once you're in semis, it's just 2 games, so two best of 7. So it's possible, definitely possible. Together we are stronger. Let's see here. Ion or SWAT says my boy Mosin. Yep, Venom was great this series. Venom's not bad. Venom's not bad. I just think Venom carries. Whoa. I don't think he carries. Let's look at the stats again. We'll sort this by ratings. SMW is carrying. SMW and Senzo have better stats on the whole. This does include wildcard. So let's look at the most recent series. Maybe that's where you're getting it from. Venom did have the highest rating this series, but I watched him in Wildcard, and Senzo was popping off in Wildcard, and SMW especially was the best player. So I think Venom is up and down. Moist and Crew deserve better. Sorry, Claimed. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm not trying to be mean to Crew or Moist. I just don't think they've been great yet. Now, the good news for both of them is their road's not over. This is just a middle of the way tier list. Obviously, that can change. So, I got the stats out. Yep. I don't know. I just feel like SMW is the best player on Twisted Minds. Complexity is elite. Yeah, we're getting there. It's really hard to see. We'll see where I put him. I don't know for sure yet. Speaking of that, let's continue with this tier list. Let's continue with the tier list, and then we'll finally. It's been so long. We'll do a very brief recap now that we've taken so long. But let's finish this up. And so now I'm going to start talking about some of the great teams at this tournament. And I think that there are quite a few great teams. Again, this is one of the best. I believe it. I truly believe it's one of the best world championships we've had. And I think a lot of teams are playing better than I expected. So despite the fact that I have, how many is this? 10. This is truly a top 10. So they all can't make playoffs. I think all these teams are great. And let's talk. I think there are a few weaker teams. So first up, we'll talk about Space Station, a great team, and I think their series against Vitality really showcases why they are so great. But they're at a crux point here, and I think that once they make playoffs, it's going to be challenging to see them go any further, and they still have a risk of not making playoffs. Right along that same coin is Rule 1. I think, in fact, I favor Space Station over them a tad right now, but I do think they're quite good. And they've been great, I should say. Great this event. And I think what's going to put them from great to elite is if they can put back their spring major form. I think they have not looked good as good as spring. And if some players, especially Kaliers, who has not been playing well, can step it up, then I think we could easily see them jump a tier. A lot of these teams in great have the ability to be even better. But we've got to see some growth as they progress. Similarly, I'm going to put Falcons, I think, here. Falcons are quite strong. In fact, they're looking the best they have all tournament in their recent series against Secret. And for them, it's going to be like the same thing as Rule 1, but they're going to have to dig deep because the last time they were truly elite was when they made the grand finals in the spring major of last year. And I think if they pull out that type of LAN level again, they could easily be elite or even, the best in the world. But we haven't seen that in a while. Even yesterday, they weren't quite as good as they were back then. So they have it in them, but we have to see them really dig deep because they're going to potentially face Vitality in playoffs. So they've really got to show up right away in playoffs tomorrow on the day I'm recording this. And next up, it's just going to talk about G2. G2 is not infinitely better than Falcons. They're pretty equal, I think, in terms of being the greatness they've showed so far. I did not expect them to play this well. This was probably my worst mistake in terms of rating teams, just because I didn't think they'd make it out of wildcard, and yet they're proving me wrong every step of the way. I think their win against Row 1 is really telling, as well as their sweep of Complexity. Sweeping Complexity is a great showing, and I'm going to be really interested to see how far they can take it. Now, the next up, it's a tough one, but I do think I'm going to have to leave Complexity down here in great. I think they can be elite, and of all the teams in great, they have the easiest ability to be elite. But I don't see it. I don't see it in the way they were playing against teams like G2. I don't see it in the way even, that they played against Liquid. I think that it's a game 7, an incredibly close series, but they didn't have the ice in a really important moment. And I think that's the difference between elite teams and great teams. And they've been elite in the past, and they probably will be elite again, but for now, I'm going to leave complexity down here. Moving right along, I'm also going to leave them in great is Gen.G. I think Gen.G have the easiest road to be elite of all these teams in North America. I think that all it takes is a really good playoffs, and they're already in playoffs. So they're right there, but I still want to see them come back into that fall major form where they won the fall major. They're almost there. Nolly is peaking, but I want to see apparently Jack peak right alongside Nolly. I think Chronic's playing solid, and Nolly is peaking. I want to see apparently Jack right up there with them. They could easily get back into elite. So next up, let's talk about these elite teams. There's 4 elite teams. We're going to throw them all in here, and then we're going to talk about which team is probably the best in the world. But we got these elite teams. First up, Karmine Corp. Karmine Corp's incredible. I think that it really just goes to show you how being so good consistently over the season, how difficult it is that perhaps Karmine Corp is the only team to have done it. Maybe the next team I'll talk about Liquids in a similar story, but Karmine Corp have been consistent all season long, and they won the Winter Major. So they've done it all. Now they're here at Worlds, and they want to prove themselves against some new squads like Vitality. They want to prove that they have it. They have what it takes to win a world championship. I don't think they're the best in the world, but I definitely think they're elite. And a similar story for Liquid. I think Karmine Corp's a little bit better of a story, but I think Liquid have also been solid all season long. They've won some regionals. They've gone deep, made a top 4 at the Winter Major. I think that they're in a prime spot to make another top 4, and that's why I have them here elite. But they probably are the weaker of these elite teams. Next up, let's talk BDS. I think BDS have shown pretty much everything in this one split, although it was just one split. So the last 2 teams, I should mention the same thing for Vitality. They made a roster move. So it's kind of not so fair because they didn't have a whole season to potentially regress like some of these other teams did. But at the same time, they're looking so good right now that there's nothing else I can do but say they're elite. I think BDS they're the reigning world champions. They have Rai. They added Rai as a major champion himself. And I really think that they belong right in this league category. And they've proven it with their performance in the spring split in Europe and especially at this Boston Major. Which brings me to Vitality. Of course, Vitality, this is a boring thing to say, but, they're the best team in the world right now, and I think that's going to continue. They easily could get knocked off the pedestal. We have so many great teams at this World Championship, so many great teams, but even the great teams are going to struggle against Vitality, and I think it's going to take some peaking by these other teams. They're going to have to play the best they've ever played, and Vitality might even have to have an officers, because potentially playing the best you've ever played might not be enough. This team is really clicking on all cylinders, and some series, they look like they're playing a different level of Rocket League. I think, for example, Moist was a sweep, and although some of these games were close 1-goal games, they really looked like they were on a different level at moments against Moist and against these other top squads, these other great squads. So I would favor Vitality here, and I think that's a fair thing to say. Let me know what you think in the comments. Obviously, a lot of these teams could be swapped around, so let me know if you think I'm crazy, if you think there's a team I misjudged in the comments. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Subscribing is the #1 way to help me grow, and I really appreciate all the support. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Alright guys, we have now recorded 2 videos in one live stream. We'll see which one I end up doing. But we've done it. Welcome to DJ Vinji. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name, but the guy with the pink face. I appreciate it. In chat. If Vitality win Worlds, it'll be boring. It will be boring, but it's going to happen, probably. You're not the first person, DJ Vinji, if I'm saying that right, to say Falcons are going to win. We've had multiple people say that, so you're right along with the crew. Trouble Fonseca, welcome to the stream, Trouble. Do you think Gen.G would lose to Liquid? Ooh, yes. I think Gen.G would lose to Liquid. Because Liquid beat Complexity, and I think Gen.G's on a similar level. Right now. I'm sorry, Foodie. It's the listen. I liked it. I liked it when I could put Gen.G over Liquid, which I did in the power rankings before the World Championship started. But now, nah. I'm not so sure. Gen.G would lose for a Chronic. They could lose to a Chronic. He has a geometry. Oh, is that a geometry dash face? Very nice, very nice. I like the script. Falcons gonna win. Falcons could win. I mean, hey. I said it. I think that, you know what? Let's talk about it while we have this available. No. Leave them up. Let's talk about the teams that have made a deep land run. that have at least one player that have made a deep LAN run. If we count semis. If we count semis, yeah. If we count semis, teams that have won LANs, let's do that. Let's do it that way. Grand finals, grand finals, grand finals. Semis, 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 semis. Had Space Station made a semis actually? Let me know if I'm crazy. I know Arsenal made semis in Season 8, but I don't know if that counts. That was so long ago. Moist won a LAN. I know, but it's just Joyo. It's just Joyo. I feel like Joyo winning a LAN and then none of his teammates having been to a world championship before means that, you know what? So let's change this around a bit. Let's change this from, these aren't even actual tiers. I'm just gonna talk about teams that could how I think the LAN experience factors in. I think that all these teams have the most recent LAN experience. I'll put them in order of success. Well, you know, FaZe are out of it, so let's just not even count them. Let's not even count them. And then same thing for Secret. So out of the teams that are still alive, could put it either way. I think out of the teams that are alive, this there is a lot of Falcons bias in this chat, Jay. That is fair. But for the record, by the way, everyone in chat, you know, it's welcome to show your bias. It's okay. You can be a fan of whoever you want to be a fan for. We're not even watch partying right now, but you're welcome to just go, yeah, go Falcons. I don't care. But let's see this. Do not count Space Station. I mean, I have him at the end. It doesn't really matter. Oh, you can't even see him. My picture's covering Space Station, so it doesn't even matter. This is the rating of, like, this is, by the way, not a rating of skill. This is a rating of how their recent LAN, how recent they've had like a good LAN, like mixed in with how good the LAN was. So what do I mean by that? This season we have 3 LAN winners. I think winning a LAN means that all the 3 of these teams have proven that they can do it, and it's recent enough that it matters. BDS, they just had a grand finals and they won Worlds. G2 got second place at Worlds last season. I think Worlds, experience matters. It's the same exact squad. Falcons got second last spring major. Maybe you put Rule 1 over these teams for recent semis. This is not a real tier list, by the way. I'm just trying to say, like, LAN experience. So all these teams benefit from this LAN experience, but to varying degrees. So I think for Falcons to bounce back, they're really going to have to take this LAN experience they got and just really dig, because it's been so long ago. But that said, they are one of those teams that has that deep run experience. So this tier list is the video. Okay, let's quickly film an intro for the video using this as the tier list. One moment. I'm gonna put Space Station right there so you can see him. Hey guys, AskFat13, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a tier list for the RLCS World Major, and I just thought I'd throw one together real quickly. So here it is. Basically, I think all these teams on the upper half are the best teams in the world. Space Station's elite, not quite best in the world. And then you got a lot of teams that just need more time to grow. Nah, I'm kidding. This is just a joke me and my chat had. If you want to get involved in the making of videos like this, be sure to join in the yeah. I'm gonna have to re-record. Messed that one up. What do you guys think? Is that silly opening to the video? You know what I'm gonna do? Let me real quick. I'm doing this live, but I'm gonna try and do it anyway. Let me get chat in the video somehow. Nah, it's fine. You guys can see it. Okay. Okay, and then I need to change how much of this you can see. You don't have to spam Falcons on top, please. Do it later. This is not in the YouTube video yet. This is not in the YouTube video yet. Spam hi YouTube later. I'll tell you when I'm recording. Let me see if I can cut this. Whoops. How do I crop? I don't know how to crop the view. All right, I gotta figure this out. Nah, that doesn't work. There's no good way. I don't know a good way to show chat. I've never done this before. Oh, you've got to go? See you, Jay. See you, Jay. Oh, no, I'm going to lose viewers doing this. I'm trying to figure out how to set up chat. In the meantime, I can keep chatting. I'll try and keep chatting. All right. I've got to get this sorted. Maybe properties. I've never done this before. This is why you don't do things live on stream, by the way, guys. But I've got to figure this out. Aha! I think I figured it out. Crop top. There we go. This is slow, but I'll get this. 200 maybe. Where does that put it? Yeah, that's about right. And then bottom 100, 110. Close that. Actually, let me keep doing that. Whoops. How do I get back to that? There we go. All right. We got it. Okay, sorry guys, that took too long. Here we go. We've got chat. We've got chat on the screen. You know, it's not perfect, but it'll do. It'll do. See you, Cosmic, if you gotta go. You're gonna stay for the video. We're almost there. We're just about ready. So let's do it. And this, we already filmed a video. We're just filming an intro. We've filmed so many things for this. Okay, and I'm gonna see if I can make this a little more to the right, actually. That's not great. Sorry, this is gonna come out so poor. You know what? There's no good way to do this. Let me just fit this back. A little bit better. It's a little stretched. It's a little wonky. We'll do it. Okay. I'm going to tell you when we're ready to record in a moment. Everybody ready? Everybody's ready for the spams. Let's do it. Actually, I'll do we're recording in 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, AskPat13 here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a tier list of all the RLCS teams at Worlds. And as you can see, I think I have a pretty clear list here. All these teams are the best in the world. We got Vitality, K-Corp, Gen.G, BDS, you know, all of them, all the way down to Falcons, Moist, you know, Complexity, Liquid, G2. They're all the best in the world. Space Station's just there a little bit off, and then everybody else just needs more time, I think. That's all for the tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Then don't forget to like and subscribe. And we're just kidding. I'm just playing with you. We're in the midst of making this tier list video live. So if you want to be involved in the making of videos like this, don't forget to check out my community tab where I make posts about when I go live, and just check the channel for when I go live. I'm going to be live streaming the World Championship watch party tomorrow. If you're seeing this video the very next day, or the day you're seeing this video, I'm going to be live streaming the World Championship watch partying both days. Don't forget to check it out. Chat's in the corner. It's an involved chat. Everybody's having a good time. So hope you enjoyed the video. And with that, we're going to get into the real tier list right now. All right, guys. Great job. Great job. Great job, chat. Oh, you guys are saying get pranks. Hi, YouTube. All right. I don't even know what you guys said, but that's it. If you need to leave, because I know some people said they had to get to sleep, you're in it. You made the video. Well, as long as it's all YouTube appropriate, but I assume it is, hopefully. All right. Oh, thanks, Fooney. I hope everyone liked it. I lost a lot of viewers doing that, apparently. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. As a short, I probably will. I try and do the, what's it called? Making my stuff into shorts. Okay, we're going to resize everything. I'm going to leave chat saved on here, but it's going to be hidden from view. Oh, apparently this isn't actually full. There we go. Sorry, chat. You're out of view for now. But, good job. Good job. That's pretty much everything I wanted to do with the tier list. So, now, now let's actually get into the recap, the main point of this video. All right. One second. I'm going to change the title again of the stream. It's been so long since I did that. You know, surprisingly, I still got viewers with that weird title. So thanks everybody that tuned in. I think we peaked at 19. That's the new record for this channel. So I appreciate all the support. LCT. It's LCT. No, I'm kidding. Welcome to the chat, Mercy. What match have the most likely upset potential of the lower bracket matchups? Good question. We're right here on it. Let me see if it's on stream. It is. Great. Definitely most upset potential. Carmine Corp Complexity, maybe. I think Carmine Corp Complexity, because everyone knows Carmine Corp's one of the big three, like the favored three in this tournament of the European teams. Carmine Corp, Vitality, BDS are all the best. But I think Complexity are right up there, and I think that's a really big upset potential. If Carmine Corp are going to lose early, like they could easily lose here. Yeah, Funi, I have no idea, man. See you, Cosmic. I probably missed it. Complexity got a peak. Oh, yeah, it would have to be a peak. It would definitely have to be a peak. I just know it's possible. Another one, although I don't think this is an upset. I just think Space Station and Rule 1 are close. I think either one could win. Yeah, Funi. Yeah. I think a lot of these could go either way. The only one I really don't see happening, and I would have up until today, is I think Falcons, after seeing them today, I just feel very confident they win. They beat Crew. I don't see it. Hat's upside down. Man, you made me check. But, Complexity are so good. Yeah, I mean, they're good. AJG underrated. You know, he's popped off at Worlds. There's a lot of players like Nolly, AJG that I didn't think would do well, and they just popped off. Senzo, you know, even. So, you love to see it. But, all right, we've done enough of this. We've done a lot of talking. Let's quickly recap the actual results. I think we'll start with Rule 1 Twisted Mind. What a series. It really went the distance. A very close Game 7 affair. Overtimes. Well, I just one overtime. A lot of one-goal games. And I think... I guess only 2 one-goal games. But it started off close and it went back and forth. A lot of back and forth, actually. The whole series was back and forth. And I think Twisted Minds just had it in their grasp. They had it in their grasp, and then they kind of tossed it a bit. But Rule 1's good competition, so you don't want to say a complete toss, but a tough show, tough going for them. Waffling, we have. I'm surprised that we actually got to 19 viewers just doing tier lists. Apparently that's top tier content. Um, but I appreciate everyone's support for sticking around to stream. And in fact, I'm gonna quickly check. Did we like gain subscribers from that? I haven't even looked. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of subscribers. We got 10. Man, I didn't even thank anybody. They all left by now. But anyone that's still here that just subscribed today, I appreciate it. I tried to get, I thought I had it working. I tried to get it so that subscribers would pop up on screen. Welcome, Wolf. I appreciate it. I tried to get it so it would pop up on stream, but it didn't work, I guess. So, yeah, Mystic, thanks. 11. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Wolf. Thank you, everybody. It clearly worked. I just didn't realize because I had, like I said, I thought I set it up so that it would make a noise and like a visual when someone subscribed. But clearly I have to fix that. Alerts. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Funi. I promise, I got an alert. Like, I put it on my stream, like my OBS overlay, but it clearly isn't working. So, unfortunate. I can you can do an impression of alert. I can even play the noise. I'm not gonna open it up, but I can. There's like stream. It's called Streamlabs, and I set it up in alert. It clearly just isn't working, but it's like that generic alert noise. I didn't change anything. It's just generic. Anyway, thanks, Wolf. Thanks, everybody. Let's quickly keep doing this recap. So let's look at the stats. I'm not gonna watch a ton of the replays, but we already had this open. And I think the interesting thing to point out here is, yet again, because I mentioned it, Clears did not play well, which is shocking to me. It's surprising. I think he's going to do better, but he's going to have to improve his shooting percentage against Space Station to win. With cool sound effects. I'd be interested to see you do cool sound effects in chat, but but I appreciate the effort. I do. So that's interesting. That he only got 9% shooting percentage. And then SMW on the other side had 0%. Wow, 0% from SMW is shocking. And yet he still managed to have a halfway decent rating. I guess everyone had poor ratings. For a Game 7, this is low ratings from everybody. But man, 0% on 2.29 shots a game is really just atrocious out of SMW. It's kind of crazy. Venom carried today, that's for sure. Senzo did decent as well. I think the best shooting percentage, has to be said, was Mosin and Venom. So two of the players that I would think of as the weakest on their respective teams popped off today. A really good shooting percentage. So a really interesting series from the stats perspective. Obviously, stats aren't everything. That's not the right heat map. That's for a different game. But all in all, a good series from Rule 1 to turn it around, and a good showing from Twisted Minds to prove why they belong. Moist got wet today. Oh yeah, Wolf. We're going to talk about Moist. If you want to talk about them next, we can do that next. Because that is the title of the stream. That is the thumbnail that you likely clicked on. Is the incredible fact that Moist had a horrible team bump and still won. I just find it shocking. That I saw that bump and I'm like, that's got to hurt the mental. But it didn't. They won that game. It didn't even matter. It did not even matter. So, Joyo got wet, Cash and yeah, Joyo got wet, Cash and Shambles. But let's look at the stats for that series and quickly talk about how FaZe struggled. FaZe struggled. They took 2 games, but it should have been 1 game. Game 2 really should have been Moist, and then it would have been a sweep potentially. But what an interesting series. So let's look at the stats here. I just think interesting to note right away, Cash did have the highest rating, but he had a poorer shooting percentage than Joyo, just taking more shots. So he had an equal number of goals, less assists, but more saves. So actually, yeah, the Cash rating is likely coming off these saves. Meanwhile, and Juicy didn't do horrible, but it wasn't great. He had a really good shooting percentage, though, interestingly. Actually, yeah, looking at this, it really just looks like his goal participation percentage is why he had a lower rating. But I don't see why he had such a low rating if he's shooting decent. Yeah, he was shooting decent, so interesting. Meanwhile, FaZe, yeah, they're done. They're at Gamers 8, but I don't know how they can do. And I actually want to briefly look at who else. Yeah, no, we'll do that another time. We'll talk about Gamers 8 another time. But they're out of Worlds, and if they don't, I don't know what they're going to do for Gamers 8, because I don't think any of them even want to play it together if it weren't for the money. Oh, Wolf, yeah, the crowd was doing so many chants about Roll Diz. I put even out a video when that happened. I think it's crazy to do it so close to Worlds, but the interesting point is I think a lot of people got it misconstrued. They didn't kick him days before Worlds; they kicked him weeks before Worlds. It just didn't get announced until right before, so it was a few weeks, but still, even just a few weeks. I mean, why would you kick someone like a month before Worlds? Like that's a bad time to be kicking someone so close to Worlds, even if it wasn't the day before Worlds. So, uh, a poor potential decision. Interesting when a lot of people are saying it's the hours from Miss, the hours from potentially Typical. So yeah, really interesting. Typical might retire. A good point, Mercy. A lot of people have said that. If I was mentioning this yesterday, I think the only way North America, like a native North American squad, wins Worlds next year, and I don't think they will. I'm just saying it's the only way it's possible potentially is if First Killer joins Beast Mode and Daniel, because then maybe. Um, he worked so hard to get the team to Worlds, and then he got fired. I think that because Wolf, he actually put out a couple tweets, a video about it. He's talked about it on stream. Roldiz does take some of the responsibility because apparently he kind of shut down after they did somewhat poor in the first couple spring regionals. But a lot of people don't blame him for shutting down because he was trying to improve the team and they just weren't listening. But he took some of the blame on, so it's not all off of Roldiz, but the players were not helping at all. They were not helping. Zen joins a random North American team. That would do the trick. I don't think Zen's going anywhere. I think a lot of European players at the top could move to North America. They just probably won't. Interestingly to me, though, I really think the money... There's got to be a player that's at the top that's going to take the money one day. So we'll see. Maybe Rise if he leaves BDS. Zen farms any region. For sure. Farms the world. I talked a bit about the Moist stats, but let's talk about FaZe Clan. So, as expected, First Killer is on the highest rating individually, and he had an incredibly high shooting percentage, a good goal participation percentage, but, Typical and Mist were also performing. No goals out of Mist, but no goals out of Typical, or no assists out of Typical. A really poor shooting percentage for Mist, though. 0%, I've mentioned it when other people have had it. The losing team in a lot of these Worlds matches has had 0% shooting. It happens a lot. So, pretty rough. Pretty rough from Miz, pretty rough from FaZe Clan, and they just look the weaker team. I do want to watch that replay. So, it's the highlight of my stream, not the highlight, the thumbnail of my stream for a reason, because when I saw it live, I knew I had to download the match, figure it out. So, let's quickly watch that in the game. We're going to watch this was like the weakest Moist looked, as they had just an inexplicable double commit. Let's watch it real quick. It's not the end of the world, but it is interesting. Just interesting that they, it was tied 1-1, and it kind of potentially, and then we know now they did throw the game with this play. So let's watch it a bit from here. A minute left, close game. Cash, Juicy, Joyo. They're looking good, but they won the first game of the series. This is game 2 for everyone that's not aware. So game 2, they're looking good. Let me quickly get chat back up. Oh, I've changed it. Back to Cash. Miss defended well, though. He did defend well. That's true. Come on, Arsenal. Play a ranked game. Maybe we'll end the stream with a ranked 1v1. We'll see how that goes. Okay, let's watch it back. I've lost the moment, but this is the double commit. So, look at this situation, and obviously comes down to communication. It does come down to communication. But, what do you do if your Cash and Joyo calls, or if your Joyo and Cash calls for the ball? Well, unfortunately, we'll never know who called for the ball, but they run into each other. Really bad, and yeah, it's just pretty bad. I managed to freeze frame it like right here for the... I think I freeze framed it right here for the video, for the thumbnail. Which, fun fact, if anyone's interested in getting images out of Rocket League, you can literally just fly around. Like, pause the match, fly around, line up the perfect shot. This is the thumbnail. If anyone saw it, it's not exactly it, but this is effectively what I did. And boom, thumbnail. I liked this. I thought it was a good thumbnail. Maybe you guys don't, but what a bump. What a bump. And now let's watch it from Joyo's perspective. Because he's the one that's kind of blindsided here. That's the only defense, especially if Joyo called the ball. the defense Droyo has is he couldn't see Cash. Cash could see him. So let's watch his player view. He cannot see Cash. He has no idea Cash is there. And then Cash comes out of nowhere for him. Both him and Cash obviously pause. They know it's a goal after. Yeah, it's just rough. It's just rough. That's why you clicked. I'm glad you clicked, Wolf, and I'm glad you got to see me do the replay, because I'm sure a ton of people clicked that thumbnail and then never saw. Because we had a peak viewers of 19 and we do not have 19 anymore. But no, it was a nice series for Moist, a nice series, and they obviously overcame that moment. I thought it was funny, so I wanted to watch it back from their perspectives. But actually, let's watch it back before I change. I was going to change scenes. Let's watch it back from First Killer's perspective. But again, it's not the end of the world. It was just a mistake. Mistakes happen. They'll recover. Wow. It's just so open for him. Yep. If this doesn't happen, I think they sweep, honestly. I feel like Moist sweep if that didn't happen. Alright. Let me get chat back up so I can see it. You're from New Jersey. Well, Wolf, were you at Boston? Because I was at Boston, and I'm not a Vitality fan, right? But after Farah's speech, and even as a BDS fan, I definitely like Vitality more now. I'm a Farah fan. Let's put it that way. Not over BDS. Like I said, I was rooting for them in the grand finals, but I liked Farah's move. That was a respectable move out of Farah, in my opinion. He thought Joya was the ball. Yeah. It's 3 a.m. Oh no, Funi, you gotta go to sleep. Alrighty. See ya, Funi. Yeah, we've been going for a bit. Yeah. Have a good one if you leave, if you head off. Ah, you couldn't go. No worries, Wolf. I went, and I really enjoyed it. But, you know, timing of these things is so tough. And then the World Championships in Germany, so, I mean, I couldn't go. I assume you couldn't go either. It's tough. But I like that they have... Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the stream, Funi. That's a sign of everyone's having a good time, if, you know, the time flies by. And the time did fly by for me as well today. But, yeah. Wolf, what was I saying? It's good that Rocket League rotates the locations so everyone gets a chance to go to them. Do you think a Rise Joy of a Tira team would beat Vitality? Good question, Ion. I don't think they would. I'm not sure, but I think they would have a really good chance. I think they could beat them across the season and take a major. Like if Vitality formed in fall and Rise Joy of Vatira formed in fall, Vitality don't win everything. They don't win every event. Eventually, they lose to Rise Joy of Vatira for sure. Moist, easy dub. Yeah, I mean, Moist is good. Hey, welcome, Mr. 10. I don't know if you just hopped on, but welcome to the stream. I don't recall seeing you today, so welcome. And now I'm just curious. I'll check that again. The subscribers. Yeah, we gained 11. What a great stream. Thanks, Wolf, again. All right. If Vitality replaced their weak link, it would be almost unstoppable. Well, we talked about this earlier on stream. I don't think you replace Radosin until after they failed. Don't even talk about it while they're succeeding. Don't even talk about it because he's so good. See ya, Foodie. Radosin's just playing like a top 10 player a lot of series, and even though he does have the occasional weak series, it's never so bad that I would say to replace him. Especially because again, when he's playing on form, he looks like a top 10 player. So. And if you have 3 top 10 players, that's no wonder they're doing so well. And genuinely, Radosin's playing like a top 10 player. So I wouldn't immediately move to remove Radosin until a while. Oh, and the thing I like to say is Radosin's the mentality guy. I really think he has a better mentality even than Alpha 54, the veteran he is. So I think of the 3 players, Radosin's really helping them all gel. And I don't think you remove that. I think that's the reason he got picked over Sizen. Because... before they removed Sizen, I thought arguably Sizen was a better player than Radosin. But I think, especially after going to Boston and getting to watch them live, I've come to realize I think Radosin is really a fun person to be around for the players on Vitality. I think they enjoy his company. And that sounds like a silly thing to say. But no. I truly think he's helping their mentalities during the games. It's not just like an out of the game thing. I think they have such a camaraderie out of the game that he's helping keep everyone calm in the game as well. Yep. See ya, Funi. Unfortunately, yeah, you're gonna. It sounds like you're gonna keep ruining your sleep schedule. Some of his team shots. Oh yeah, he Radosin blocks everyone's shots. He scores in both nets. Incredible player. Not kidding. But Radosin's really good at following up an own goal with the score to make up for it. So that's another two thing too. A lot of players, if they own goal as much as Rodosin, because we meme about it, but he truly does own goal at a slightly higher rate. If they did it as much as him, they would be worse affected. But the reason he's not so bad affected is his mental does not get shot every time he own goals. He still does fine the very next series, the very next game. I mean, in the same series. So he is completely fine. In my opinion, on Vitality, I would not move to replace him. I understand what you're saying, Wolf, obviously, but I wouldn't move to replace him. They still come out of everything with a high win rate. Exactly. They win the games they own goal too. It's the funniest thing. But all right. Let's quickly move on because we're getting to the end of the day, end of the stream, and I haven't recapped the last couple of series. So talked about these two. Let's talk about Team Secret Falcons. A solid series from Falcons. I actually already did talk about this a bit. I think Falcons look the best they have all championship, all world championship long. They look the best today, even better than wildcard. So let's quickly pull up the stats again. What a series from them! What a series. I don't know why I'm at upcoming. I meant to looking at the World Championship matches. Let's quickly review Team Secret Falcons. So, and the stats tell the story here. All three Team Secret players are on really low ratings. Really low ratings. Falcon players, meanwhile, all good. TRK especially, incredibly popping off. 90% goal participation, and the other players still held 50%, which you don't always see if there's one player popping off like that. All shooting percentages were great. A team shooting percentage of 27%. That is what you need to see. That's great sign for Falcons against a good defense. Secret are known as one of the best defenses in the that were at the World Championship, and Falcons shot 27% on them. A great sign out of Falcons. Truly a great sign. Because I mean, they're still getting 4 saves in a game. And interestingly to me, is Secret actually put on a decent number of shots. It wasn't enough to overcome these saves though, and Falcons were shooting more shots and shooting higher percentage. But look at the difference here. 7% shooting versus 27. That's what won Falcons the series. So I think it's a fair point. Like Mercy is saying, is Secret were off a bit. That is a fair point because that shooting percentage is there. But you also could say Falcons had a really good defense. So an interesting series. Not because the stats were so one-sided. There's not really a lot to look at here besides that. You could look at the fact that TRK had an assist a game and 2 saves a game, 11.8 goals a game. So just a really good stat line from him. O'Callaghan had incredible shooting. 37.5% is quite good. Sad had 0%. You never like to see that. It's a recurring trend. I mentioned it a lot of times. A lot of these teams that lose in the World Championship had at least one player on 0%. The winning teams almost never have a player on 0%. In fact, Rule 1 was the only game today that had a player on 0% shooting and still won. So if you have a player shooting 0%, it's bad sign. Bad sign in this World Championship. That's pretty much it with Falcons. Secret. Just because, it's running late. Sorry to cut this one short, but we'll cut the recap a bit short here and then end it off with Complexity and Ninjas in Pajamas. I think Ninjas in Pajamas look better than I expected, but Complexity were still clearly the better team. Let's look at the stats. You got CRR popped off. Razebull did decent. A decent showing for Major G, although not as good as his teammates. Ninja in Pajamas is a stark contrast to Team Secret. Ninja in Pajamas actually had decent performance. I think they had decent stats. They looked well. They played well. If I had to pick a best performer out of the series, it probably would be CRR. An incredible 1.3 goals a game on 42% shooting. Quite good. But on the other team, I mean, you can also look at Mata. What a pop-off series for him. A goal a game, 30% shooting. So a lot of parallels, and I think if a few goals had gone the other ways, they could have taken it from Complexity. Yeah, Mystic, exactly. Or you thought, maybe you were thinking in advance, you thought they could perform. I didn't have high hopes from Ninjas in Pajamas coming into the main event. straight away. I mean, like before this started, but you know they outperformed what I thought. They really looked like they belonged in the top 16. It wasn't like a stolen spot. They deserved to be here, and they just couldn't pull it out today. But they definitely deserve to be here. So a good showing from Ninjas in Pajamas. I think if we're gonna see them again next season, I'd be interested to see if they stuck together because I feel like Astromik has never got the chance to stick with the team. He keeps getting players poached or having to move teams. So maybe they all stick together and they can really start gelling next season. We'll see because this was their first split together, if I remember correctly. Do not look up Team Secret on YouTube. I won't. You know, you just have to tell me. I know a lot of people get curious. I probably am a little curious, but I've seen too many crazy things that I'm not going to look up whatever that is. So you thought they perform and take it from... Oh, yeah, I already read that. Mercy says that Razebull was clearly the weakest player in complexity. Really? You know, the stats aren't everything, so that's a good... I always say, so that's a good shout. I guess if I'd had to assume what you're talking about, it's probably because he was so uninvolved in the goal scoring. But it has to be said that he had a lot of assists this game, but maybe he was missing, and then the misses turned into assists, so... I think Razebull, that's part of why I had CRR in my top 10 prediction of players before this World Championship started, is that I feel like CRR is more consistent than Razebull, although Razebull can be the better player when he's at his best. He tweeted about it? Yeah. A lot of players in Rocket League, which I really like to see, have a lot of maturity in the way they treat the game and the way they treat themselves and their play. So the fact that they own up if they've made mistakes is a good sign. So Razebull has a really good head on his shoulder. So CRR is made for land. Yep. All right, guys, we're starting to wind down. That is pretty much all of the recapping. So a couple things. I know someone wanted to watch me play a ranked game, but it might have been Foodie, and I think he's left. I don't really know if I want to play ranked. I am not even a great player, by the way. I'm just diamond level myself. How about you guys just want to chat RLCS for a little bit before we tune out? HG was the weakest from complexity. He barely has more goals per game than Razebull and low assists. Well, you know what's interesting is that let's look at the stats across the whole World Championship. So, that's not going to be the best way to do it. Sorry, got distracted. Let's do World Championship. We'll do stats. And then we'll sort by team. So, complexity here, HAG has been the weakest of the three. If you average all the matches. And they played quite a few games, quite a few matches. So I think obviously stats aren't everything again. But yeah, that would make sense to me. I think if you look on it from the outside looking in, before they get to the World Championship, obviously HAG is the odd one out of the three. Right, I thought CRR is very strong. Everybody knows Razebull is strong. So it makes sense. I don't think they need to make a change, though. It depends on how they do the rest of this World Championship, but I think they're still a strong team, and they can go into next season sticking together. And welcome to the stream, Kirby. If that's the first time I've seen you chat, welcome. All right, but as I was saying, we're wrapping up. So if you have any other things you want to chat about, let me know in the chat. You know, talk RLCS for a bit. You want to see, you know, what you hope to see for tomorrow. We're going to do a watch party tomorrow. I am doing it, so make sure to tune into that. I'm going to start right around when the matches start, which is, let me check when the first one is. The first one's going to be Space Station Rule 1 at 9 a.m. Eastern time, my time, which I don't know what that is in your time. You can look at Wikipedia. I'm going to stream like maybe 10-20 minutes before the first match starts. I am not eligible for Twitch drops, sorry. Sorry, Wolf. You can always have 2 streams open and just mute one. Sorry. I wish I was that big. Maybe one day. I don't know if there's a way to get it up on YouTube, though, so I might have to start streaming on Twitch to do that. For now, I'm just growing this channel, which, by the way, anyone that is new, we still have 5 viewers. If you're new to the channel, I really appreciate subscribing. It's the #1 way to help my channel grow. And I don't just do live streams. It helps you get notified when I'm live, but I also put out videos, and I'll help you get notified when I put out videos. So check out all the videos. I'm making lots of prediction videos, just videos talking about RLCS in general. Yeah, it is what I do. Nice, Wolf. Yeah, yeah. Rising. Oh, thanks, Mystic. I am actually going much faster than I expected. But so you're correct. um, it kind of makes sense. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't want to sound cocky. I did not expect to grow fast, but part of why I was interested in making these videos is because I not only am I'm a huge RLCS fan and I just want to talk about it, but I feel like there wasn't enough RLCS content like the kind I'm making. I don't think there's a lot of RLCS content out there that isn't content creators. Like a lot of pros make ranked gameplay, and a lot of content creators in Rocket League make Rocket League videos, but there's very few people that talk about RLCS consistently in YouTube videos. So I thought I'd go for it. Thanks, Mystic. I appreciate the kind words. Relevant and engaging. Thanks. That's another thing. I'm trying to jump on Worlds in the spring major, and I made a bunch of videos about them because once they're over, we're going to be in the off season, and I'm open to admitting that odds are the content's going to dry up in the off season. I already have some ideas. I have things in the works, so I'm still going to make videos about RLCS and about Rocket League esports, but the content's obviously going to dry up after Gamers 8. It won't be as much pro Rocket League content. What are the games tomorrow? Wolf, there's 6 games. There's these 4, so we have Space Station Roll 1, Crew Falcons, Carmine Corp Complexity, G2 Moist, and then there's also the first part of the playoff. It's going to be Vitality versus either Carmine Corp or Falcons, and it's going to be Gen G versus either, sorry, I said that wrong. Vitality versus either Crew or Falcons, sorry, and Gen G versus Carmine Corp or Complexity. Kirby had it right, yes. Let's go Vitality. You know what's funny, Wolf, is you missed it. A bunch of people on my chat were all rooting for Falcons to beat Vitality. But I welcome fans of all colors. So when we go to the match tomorrow, the matches, the watch party, anyone is welcome in chat. I'll probably pick a team to root for based on the majority of who chat's rooting for. But you are welcome to cheer for any team. You know, no restrictions. It's not a biased watch party in that form. Mystic, that's actually one of the things I was planning on doing. Not necessarily player POVs, although it would be POVs actually if I just use director cam. But I plan on just, get scraping ball chasing for some interesting matches because I don't want to just talk about roster mania because there's going to be roster mania. That's going to be the biggest point of content during the offseason. But I want to be looking for scrims and ball chasing. Sometimes they get out there. Obviously, usually people don't post scrims, but every so often a private match again with 6 pros gets out there, and if there's any interesting matchups, I might do a video on them. So that'll be the most interesting content I think in the off season. Blue Wall about to go nuts. They already went nuts yesterday, and Carmine Corp wasn't even playing. So you're right, Mercy. I can't wait to see the fans, the Blue Wall. I saw a very tiny Blue Wall in the spring major. It wasn't even tiny. It was just smaller than the one they have at Dusseldorf, and oh boy, the Blue Wall is something. I'm not obviously I'm not a Carmine Corp fan, so I'm not going to join in on that. But I really think it's good for the scene to have fans that are that dedicated. It's really good for the scene, and I think that a lot of people were disrespecting them early on when people weren't used to it. But I hope as people get more used to the fanatic fans that like the Blue Wall are, it's good for the esport. I think you want to have people passionate, so. Good. It's good for the esport to have the Blue Wall as long as they're respectful. But everything I saw in Boston, they were all respectful. They're passionate, but they're not rude, people. So, and Vitality, I forgot about that, Mystic. Good point. I saw that in the videos and in the stream. Vitality had an entire section as well, so that's interesting. 2 sections. See you, Wolf. Yep, I understand. I hope you have a good evening or good night, I should say. See you, Wolf. Carmine Corp's full. Carmine K Corp fans cooled up. Yeah, I think the Vitality fans looked cool as well. Just a nice groups. I saw they had a bee. Someone dressed up as the Vitality bee, which is fascinating. All right, that does take us past 10:30, so it's getting late. I think I'm gonna call it here, but I really appreciate everyone in the chat, the whole stream. You guys have made it fantastic as always. I appreciate all your support. If anyone's watching this now or watching the VOD after the fact and you're not subscribed, I really appreciate subscribing. It's the #1 way to help the channel grow. And grow we are, so I appreciate everyone that's already subscribed. As I mentioned earlier in the stream, We grew over 10 subscribers today, 11. So I really appreciate everyone's support. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern or a little earlier, for a watch party. So until then, see you guys. Actually, let me put it on the main video. There you go. So see you guys. Have a good night. Peace.